EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Wednesday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen, inching closer to the Week 8 rematch of the Eagles versus the New York Football Giants. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Wednesday morning, brother?
Doing well. Turn the page day. New York Giants, round 2, Wednesday. Big day. Long day.
What's your early feeling on that game?
Yeah, I don't think the Giants are very good, similar to the first game, and I was wrong about that one. But I do think that because of how they played up there, I think the Eagles will be very hyper-focused and settle in. I can't see the New York Giants sweeping the series with a win at Lincoln Financial Field. I think it's going to be a very difficult afternoon for the Giants.
Yeah, I'm kind of have that same feeling right now. So we get the Kelly Greens coming out. Not that you care about that, but I'm sure all the people care about that. And I think the Eagles.
I do know what they're wearing for once. A lot of people ask me. That's the only time I know what they're wearing.
Right.
Kelly Green Week, because there's so much emphasis on it. They put up a different backdrop. The game notes are Kelly Green. They make a big deal out of it.
Profile picture on all their Instagram, their social medias. Yeah, they go.
All right. So if someone asked me after the game what they were wearing, I actually know during the, like, if you ask me 10 minutes after a normal, like if you ask me right now what they wore in Minnesota, I couldn't tell you. And I watched the game 3 times. I couldn't tell you.
You know it's white. I mean,
well, I know it because they're on the road.
I get what you're saying, though. It doesn't stick out. It's not the number one thing that matters, obviously.
Yeah.
But they are wearing Kelly Green this week. Eagles-Giants rematch. Jackson Dart coming off. He was on a high when he beat the Eagles, and then they had a fourth quarter collapse. That was pretty bad last week versus the Broncos. So we'll see how they manage. We'll have Mike Gill and Brandon Lee Gouton on the show today. So looking forward to talking to those guys on the show. That should be pretty good. John, what's going on in Eagle Land? Yesterday you spoke with the 2 coordinators. It's always good to hear from those guys. Brandon Graham has obviously officially returned, which we talked about yesterday. And A.J. Brown keeps stirring the pot a little bit. I don't know what you make of it, but we'll talk a little bit about that. Let's start with the coordinators, Johnny Mac. What did you see yesterday, Vic? We'll start with Vic. What stuck out from Vic's presser yesterday?
What the typical Vic, very honest. I love the fact I wrote about this yesterday. One, because he validates I love when he validates my points. And he was talking about the pick 6 and Jalen Carter, and basically, he got asked about Jalen Hunt part of that, which is a big play for him, confidence building play as a defensive end, outside linebacker. You got to catch the football, which isn't always the easiest thing to do for those guys. So big part of that. But Vic went directly to, well, who made the play? And I think it impacted the game far greatly than that, because I think he really impacted Carson Wentz, who was just awful after that play, with a massive hit. That was a Jalen Carter play. And that's where Vic directly went. Even though he's asked about Jalix and the impact of the pick 6. And I get that's where everyone's focus goes, but that's a perfect example of, look, that's a Jalen Carter play. You got to realize
pressure
that.
play too, John. You talk about pressure all the time, man. That's a pressure on the quarterback, forcing a bad decision, forcing them to, speed up the clock, and the Eagles end up with a touchdown because of it.
So let me read. The question is, here's the question. On the Jalix Hunt pick 6, it looked like Carson Wentz stared down Justin Jefferson. Makuba was on him. Was that a man look? So it was talking about, what kind of look it was. And then it was designed to have Jalix drop in that situation to get a favorable matchup there. And Vic just said, yeah, the whole key to the play was Jalen Carter. He beat the center quickly, got in the quarterback space, hit him just like we teach him to hit him, and he caused the interception. And then he did say Jalix made a great catch. So, from that point, I said, well, let me further on this and try to prop up Jalix a little bit because it was a nice play by Jalix. He has been not what people expected, but still a developing player. And so I brought up his history as a safety at Cornell, and is he a more natural sort of flat defender that Bix likes? And Bix just said, "You would think so, but not really." I mean, he is just unbelievably blunt and honest. So for people that listen to the show, I have tremendous respect for Vic Fangio. But so two things that stood out for me because look, I don't know how people don't see this stuff. Like how you look at that play and don't realize it's not a Jalen Carter play. I think a lot of fans do. I think a lot of media people do, but I think a lot don't. I really think a lot don't. And that's football, and you're sort of nestled into, the ultimate team game that Nick Sirianni always talks about. Like one guy made the play, that's in the box score, pick six, but Jalen Carter,
Right.
impact created that, and just like in the when they beat the Rams in the playoffs last year, it's like Jalen Carter, no sacks, just pressures, wins the game with 2 rushes late in that game. So I love when Vic points that kind of stuff out, and that should have been obvious to people. I mean, that should have been really obvious to people, and for too many, it wasn't. Shocking to me.
He also spoke about Brandon Graham, Johnny Mac. Didn't know what to make exactly of what he said about Brandon Graham. Kind of was typical Vic answer of, let's see where he is. What did you make of that, and how much impact do you think Brandon Graham has here in the next couple of weeks?
Well, he's got a 2-week exemption, number one. So I truly think they're going to look and see where he is this week from a conditioning perspective. Wednesday starts today, Thursday, Friday. They have 3 practices, and if he looks good, they'll activate him. He's not on the 53 because they have that exemption. And it's just it's funny because the NFL screws up on its own wording. It's listed as a 2-game suspension, 2-game exemption. It's really a 2-week because the Eagles have the bye week, so they don't get till after Green Bay. They have to do it by November 3rd to put them on the 53. So it's really a 2-week exemption because they have the bye week in between those 2 games. But anyway, that's just bookkeeping. So I really think they're going to look at the conditioning. Can he play? And if he can, they'll activate him and give him 10, 15 snaps. But I think, for a larger role to have the eye on Green Bay after the bye week, it's pretty clear. And that's fine. I mean, people should expect a little bit of a ramp up period after missing. He didn't have a spring, a summer, was retired. Now, they've been talking back and forth since early in the season. So, Brandon has quietly been trying to get ready, but you can't, you can't be in football condition just working out on your own. So, and that's what Big kind of said. And that's what he always says about practice is important, even though people doesn't necessarily think it is. So he wants to see where he is, but I did push him on the retention part because he mentioned retention. We'll see what kind of retention he has. And I asked him if his experience with Brandon last year gives him confidence that that's going to be okay. And he said, yeah, it does, obviously. Yeah. So from that part, I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Good stuff there. John, what do you think of Patullo? I know maybe this is just in my head, but I'm reading Honest NFL yesterday, who's putting out these great tweets about the advantage that Shane Steichen has given to the Indianapolis Colts coaching staff and how he's prepared Daniel Jones, and he's giving him options, pre-snap, post-snap, what to do with the football, and why he's having such a good year as a football coach, not even specifically on the field. I listen to Kevin Patullo, John. I don't hear any of that. I don't get confidence from it. He doesn't inspire confidence in me, and I'm not the end all be all. I'm just telling you how I feel personally. What do you think of Kevin Patullo and what he had to say yesterday?
But yeah, that part I don't understand, to be frank, because you saw Shane here. Did he inspire confidence on the podium? Because if you're comparing
No, I'm
those,
not talking about at the podium. I'm talking about the
well,
way he calls
well,
the
I'm
game.
I'm talking. You said when you listen to him, I'm like he's way more engaging than Shane. Now, to your point about on field, yeah, that's fine. I mean, that's fine. But Shane didn't say anything on the podium. I mean, anything. If you're going to grade the coordinators on the podium, he's last. He's behind Kellen Moore, who said nothing. I mean, Shane, and I love the dude, and he was great off the podium. And I think he's a great coach, and he's doing a great job in Indianapolis. But I also think Daniel Jones didn't get enough credit. And Saquon's very close to Daniel Jones, and he would swear by Daniel Jones and say that if you give him an offensive line and you give him pieces, he's going to be a really good quarterback. And I'm not saying Saquon's right, but or was right at the time, although he's proven to be right. But the point is, Shane has been out there, and Shane has not looked as good when his quarterback situation wasn't as good, like every other coach. I'm not picking on him, but I do think you have to give some credit to the guy on the field doing it. And I think he's done a wonderful job, to the point. I think they've both done a wonderful job, but and I have an MVP vote. And if I had to vote today, I'd vote for Daniel Jones, which I think is a testament to both of them. But you know me, I'm gonna say the same thing when it comes to coaching. He's the same coach. Shane's the same coach that he was last year as he is this year. He's got a better quarterback. He can't do anything with Anthony Richardson. Couldn't.
Yeah, but are you trying to tell me that Kevin Patullo doesn't have good players?
No, he's got great players. I'm saying that you brought up Shane. I'm saying, look, I think he's doing a wonderful job. He was probably doing a wonderful job with Anthony Richardson, but you'll never know it. Is what I'm trying to say. And Daniel is now in a situation where you saw him in New York, where he didn't have the talent around him. Now you talk about Kevin, just like you talk about Kellen and Brian and Shane, has a lot of talent. So their expectations are higher, but they have their own individual sort of hurdles to overcome. We often talk about, people think about adversity versus handling success. It might be a nice problem to have, but I always say problem is still in that phrase.
Yeah, right.
They haven't been able to run the football, which is curious. And I can't explain it, because they've always been they've always been able to run the football in this era. And all of a sudden they can't, which is bizarre to me. To the point, and I'm sure it's bizarre to them, because I'm sure they're trying. I know they're trying. That was the whole mini buy, try to get the running game on track, and they haven't been able to do it. And they're coming off a phenomenal passing game, which again needs to be more consistent. And we'll see if that is consistent moving forward. It can't be as good as it was there, so you have to recalibrate. You're not going to have perfect passer ratings every week. So it's interesting. They're coming off a high point where they proved a lot of things in the passing game. But I think the major concern remains getting that running game going. And if anybody knew the answer, the Eagles would probably invite you into the NovaCare complex to fix it.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I did hear, I don't know if it was Baldy, it might have been Tucker, one of the old offensive linemen, might have been Swartz, said they haven't seen anybody load the box like they are for Saquon. And I covered Adrian Peterson with a bad quarterback. I've seen loaded boxes. And Saquon will tell you, he's seen these kinds of loaded boxes all the time throughout his career. they did it last year. Why they can't do it this year is perplexing. And we've talked about all the issues. Banged up offensive line. Is he banged up? All the touches, yada, yada, yada. A lot of things. The tight ends aren't blocking well. A lot of things factor into it, but it is strange. It is strange.
Yeah, we had Keith Byers on yesterday who spoke about it. He said he sees offensive line run blocking for sure, but we'll see what ends up happening with it. John, let's talk about A.J. Brown. What'd you make of it? The post. I think he's trolling at this point, John, but
I think he's
it's still not the best thing in the world.
No, he shouldn't do it. I think he knows. I think he does. He's got, sorry, AJ, for listening, but he's got an addiction to social media. I mean, because
does he need to get attention? Like I love AJ Brown. Like I try not to rip on him because I like the player. I think he's a deep dude. I try and understand when he speaks, where he's coming from, and I've never had an issue. But at some point, you're just like, all right, like.
Well, it's not helping.
Making shit. Like, you know what I mean? I don't understand that part of it.
It's not helping the situation. That's the bottom line.
And it's a little unbecoming of a captain.
It's just not helping. So, and I think he does this stuff, and then he reverts back to course and says, "Yeah, I shouldn't have done that." Well, don't do it.
Yeah, I get that.
Addictions are addictions. It's not easy to stop them. Not easy to stop habits. Bottom line is, it's not helping. So stop it. And part of it, I think, is just trolling. And ultimately, it was using me, but not using me. That's what he said.
Yeah, who even knows what that means?
No. It doesn't help, is the point.
Yeah.
So to me, if it doesn't help, and he'll probably know it by the end of the day that it didn't help, just go in a different direction. I don't know. But I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I don't think it helps either.
Yeah, well, we'll see what ends up happening with it. I'm sure they're going to ask A.J. Brown about it. I'm done seeing the social media posts, but I don't know. If it doesn't matter and he can get 120 yards and 2 touchdowns like he did this week, shit, make all the social media posts you want. I guess I don't really care at the end of the day. I think the good news is I don't think Jalen Hurts cares. I think Jalen is pretty stoic about that stuff. So maybe Jalen is the quarterback to be able to manage that better. We got Mike Gill in the green room. Appreciate everybody being here this morning. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right, drop your comments down below. We appreciate everybody for being here. All super chats go to the top. Thank you very much. Let's go to Mike Gill, who joins us right here on Birds 365. You can follow him at Mike Gill Show. Listen to him at 97.3 ESPN. Mike, welcome to the program, my friend. How you doing this morning?
Wish people would react to my social media posts as much as
same, Mike.
You got to be more, Mike. You got to be more cryptic.
Yeah. Well, I heard the back end of what you were saying there. I feel like he is trolling because there's people that do what I do. I didn't bring it up at all. I just don't care. Like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about, nor do I care what he's talking about. He said something a couple of weeks ago, and he had one of the best days of the season here 2 weeks later. Like, maybe they don't get along. Maybe they do get along. Maybe he thinks – but there are certain people who do what I do who are completely fueling this because he knows they're idiots. And he's like, these stupid idiots are going to keep talking about me, and I love it. So I'm just going to keep doing it because they'll center their whole day around it.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
just don't care.
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of Embiid-like trolling. To give it a little shout out to the Sixers.
Well, yeah, but even if it's Embiid-like trolling, isn't it a distraction from the team? I mean,
not if
they're all in on it. Not if they're all in on it. Like, are they in on the joke too? Like, put something out because this one moron will talk about it all day tomorrow, and like we'll just watch him have a meltdown. And it's like they're all just laughing at that guy. Like, I don't know what particular I'm saying. Like, but
possible.
Let's think. I'm 48 years old, so I'm not like the prime social media target here. But like at whatever age, AJ is what, 28. At 28 years old, we didn't have social media. It didn't exist. So you don't know what's going through. Like, what would you have done at that age? Like, we see all these people, who now have lives or trying to get professional lives, and you go back to their social media feed. Well, when he was 20, he tweeted this. Well, yeah, that was 15 years ago. I was a complete idiot. So but so these guys have social media now is ingrained in the growth of their lives. Like we didn't have that. So what would I have been tweeting at 28 years old? I have no idea, especially if I'm
You'd probably be embarrassed by some of it, at least some of it.
Likely.
We all would.
But like if he's 28 years old,
the problem is now everybody has a platform now. And you can go directly to, there's no filter. So, in the past, you would say something and, somebody would have to write about it or somebody would have to report it and if it was big enough, this kind of stuff would have never reached that level. So, how many times did insert Jerry Rice, say something back in the day that, hey, if they had social media, maybe even Jerry Rice would have a different.
Well, we talk about it all the time. Is like Michael Jordan. What if he had to live with like social media? These guys didn't have that platform to just kind of do whatever they wanted to, whether they wanted to get their thoughts out, or where they wanted to troll somebody, or they wanted to just mess with people. Especially in a town where if you break wind, people are talking about it. Like you can't do anything if you're on the Eagles without people just going bonkers about, well, why did he do it there? How come he didn't pick it to do it at this spot? How come he ended up going to this place? How come he didn't go to that place? Like those guys can't do anything without it being broke down to like epic proportions. So the guy had his best game of the year. I don't know if he meant anything by what he said. Maybe he did. Maybe he don't. Maybe he hates Jalen Hurts. Maybe they're in on it together. Maybe they're laughing at everybody.
The assumption that because they're not as close as they once were, that Jalen's not going to throw him the football, or or he's not going to catch it. Like a couple of weeks ago when the deep shot, they missed on the deep shot, and a lot of people were saying AJ didn't run the route as hard as he could have. That's the kind of stuff. Like if he's open and Jalen sees him, he's going to throw the ball because Jalen doesn't want to look. He wants to make a play. He wants a perfect passer rating. He wants to score touchdowns, and so does AJ. So to me, the biggest fallacy of this whole thing is, they don't get along, so something's going to happen on the field. You don't want to embarrass yourself on an NFL football field. None of them do.
No, I think AJ, one of the things, remember, people kind of forget he was already in Tennessee. Like I had somebody text in yesterday, like, hey, does AJ feel that he's a Hall of Fame level player, but his numbers are not going to get in there? And that, like, that's what he's thinking about. Because he's already said, like, winning the Super Bowl didn't fulfill him. And, whatever else is going on. Well, why would making the Hall of Fame fulfill him then? Like, you can't – it's the same level of achievement as a Super Bowl, right? Like,
I think it's personal.
It's a personal accomplishment.
It's personal.
Right, but my point is he
legacy,
said he can't –
and by the way, I think legacy means a lot to him. Like,
okay. But my point was he was in Tennessee, and in Tennessee, it wasn't like he had a Hall of Fame trajectory started there either. He didn't come here and have lesser numbers. He came from a place where he wasn't having great numbers either. Now, was he a problem there? Is that why they got rid of him? Necessarily, they thought he was injury prone. Like they couldn't, he had the knee problems, and then they didn't think he could sign him. So that's why he ends up getting traded. But he didn't come here coming off of 3 1,500-yard seasons.
No, he had Derrick Henry. We've had that discussion many times.
Exactly.
I've had that discussion with AJ.
So now, but my point is now, like, here we are, however many years in his career, has he changed? I don't want to say changed his mind, but all of a sudden has he become greedy where it's like either throw me the ball or else, or I'm just going to keep mocking you on social media every single week? Like, you would have thought this would have been a pattern that he would have started in Tennessee for not getting the ball enough.
Well, he says
go ahead, Jim.
He said that helped him actually quell the natural desire of wide receivers that want the football, which they all do. He said, he's probably better equipped to handle it than most. And you see around the league, guys lose their minds if they're not getting the football. He actually handles it better than most. And part of that is because he's played with Derrick Henry and now Saquon Barkley, which a lot of receivers haven't gotten to. But look at Smith and Jigba. He's the new guy, right? He's having this phenomenal year. Everybody's talking about him. All the big numbers. That I think resonates with all receivers. And you need the vehicle. You need a high volume thrower to get you the football to put up those numbers. I think from AJ's standpoint, he's made 3 consecutive second-team All-Pro teams. When he first got here, it was Miles. They were a very effective running team, but he was at 1,500 yards. Second year, it was DeAndre, very effective running team, but he was up wherever, 1,400 yards. I think that's the wheelhouse where he's fine. And they've dropped off from that wheelhouse for whatever it's worth.
I listen, he has been here for this is fourth season now. And we've had moments of this before. It's not like this has just come out of right field. He has had moments, and they seemingly, I don't know, do they just kind of go away, and this team has had a ton of success. Now, do you get to the point where he's Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and you just get rid of him?
Yeah, that's what I mean. People act like this Eagles organization doesn't care about this stuff. They do care about it. I know people, let AJ talk. The organization cares. They've proven that they care about any outside noise. So we'll see what ends up happening. But, Mike, let's move into the football. Is the Eagles' offense fixed after what you saw on Sunday versus the Vikings?
No, not fixed, but this is what they are. This is what they've been. I mean, last year they I don't want to say last year they were broken, but they just handed the ball off and it worked. I mean, they had moments last year where we were questioning the offense and I would have loved Jalen to come out the other day and say, "This is what you all wanted to see." Like that just apropos. But there was moments last year where there was problems, but they did one thing very, very well. Didn't mean they didn't have their issues. No, they got somebody texted into my show yesterday and on Monday and said, "Look, an offense isn't just chucking the ball down the field. That's not an offense, and it's
not going to work."
Right. Like you can't just do that every single week, point your finger and just say backyard football, let's go. But if they can like come to terms with using the pass to set up the run, they've been trying to go the other way and that's not working. So they just said, okay, let's scrap that and try to throw the ball. Can they now be a throw first team to try to set their run back up and then use Barkley kind of in the way that he sealed games last year, where he just hit one big one and that kind of ended the game, because they're trying to utilize him early, and he just has nowhere to go. And then they're just like, all right, let's throw the ball. But if they come out throwing the ball, and then that opens up that box a little bit more. Their problem is, of course, up front. You put Brett Toth at center, he's getting whipped in the middle of that line. There's just nowhere to run. There's no lanes, nothing. Landon Dickerson hasn't been the same. Quite frankly, the whole offensive line, we talk about it a lot. They're just not the same right now as the 5 guys that you had last year, churning and burning holes. They don't have that right now. So, no, the offense is going to be a problem if they're going to try to lean on Saquon Barkley. And, they have no run game right now. None. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
The game,
it's amazing.
The microcosm of the issues is last week they have the ball and they're trying to end the game. They have to run the ball. They run the ball. They get a yard. The Rams call timeout. Well, you would say you got to run the ball again to make the Rams use a timeout. Well, they can't, because they know they can't run the ball, so they throw that incomplete pass to A.J. Brown. So now they stop the clock, and you're saying you can't throw an incomplete pass. They have to. They can't run the ball, and then they end up hitting the big 45-yard pass to A.J. Brown. But you're probably all watching the game saying, like, they can't run the ball, but they have to run the ball, but they can't. And last year, you knew they were going to run the ball, and he probably would have daggered you with a 73-yard run right there, and they just can't do it. So not fixed. But learning every week more and more as the play caller, like you feel more comfortable as that guy. Okay, now I got a better feel. Maybe we could do a little bit more of this. You hope anyway. I don't know. I'm not inside Kevin Batula's head.
Yeah, I'm amazed with that kind of conversation. Like, number one, why would anything be fixed in week 7? I mean, the whole goal is to get better and better, and have your, like they did last year, play your best football when it counts. So I don't think it's alarming, but I do think there's this weird. We've talked about it all the time over the years, Mike. This weird. This is a different sport. It's unlike, because you play so few games and you have so much time in between the games, and everybody is so hyper focused on what went on the last game. And it's like, that's what the team is, even though every week you see it's different.
Well, the team is what the team for 1 week is what the other team allows you to be or doesn't allow you to be.
Exactly.
But
so a lot of it is how Minnesota played, and it was strange. It was a strange defensive game plan from Brian Flores. And maybe that shouldn't be a surprise, because he's a weird guy and he does different things. But he was allowing, Isaiah Rodgers to be in man coverage way too much.
I said on my show on Friday, if you see A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith, either one of them, one-on-one with, because the whole week was like, oh, Isaiah Rodgers should have brought him back. If you see either one of those guys one-on-one with Isaiah Rodgers, you go right after him. Like, they're acting like this guy was Darrelle Revis in his prime, for God's sakes. And I'm like,
it was the strangest thing. And I'm like,
Zander, you asked if they're fixed, and my answer would be not necessarily. I don't know what the heck they are, but Devontae Smith has the 5th most receiving yards in the league.
I know.
Think about that. He has the 5th most receiving yards in the league. I think one thing is, a lot of people watch the Eagles. They don't watch like everything else. And then we see these primetime games, and you see Jamar Chase get 23, targets, and Jackson Smith and Jigba the other night had a bunch of targets. But overall, teams are struggling to pass the ball. Like, they're having some problems. Like, you're seeing big games here and there from time to time. Like the Eagles, they had 2 guys go over 100 yards in the same game. Yet you would think overall they're having problems with the wide receivers and getting them the ball and yada, yada. But Devontae Smith has the 5th most yards in the league right now. So I think it's just like each week, based on who you're playing and what their game plan is and what they're willing to give you and what they're not willing to give you. And teams right now are not willing to give the Eagles Saquon Barkley. That's for sure. So, and look, they signed Saquon Barkley. They gave him that extension. I wasn't all for that extension. I get it. It was a good job by the organization to approach him. But you got his best year. So you're now paying him for the best year. That's kudos to the organization for doing that. But now you pay him this money, and it's almost like, okay, he's our guy. Now you're saying he's the guy that we're investing in. And you're trying to use this investment, and it's not working right now. So now you have the 5th best yardage receiver in the league. Maybe he gets some more targets. Or you have another guy on the other side who's pretty darn good. He's a cryptic writer. Maybe we want to get him involved a little bit more.
How about, I'm sick of talking about the offense. So it's BG Day.
Oh man, the best kept secret I've ever seen, right?
Yeah. Who knew it was coming?
Well, I thought the revelation that he gave on his show yesterday was that they did ask him at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Well, they've been talking. They've been talking since before they brought in Za'Darius. Then it kind of slowed down, picked up.
That's what he said. He said they called him before, and he said no. Then they went to Smith, and then when Smith retired, that opened the door, and he said, "I'm not going to let this opportunity go." But they did acknowledge, I guess, the team that we think we need, because everyone's saying, "How did you go in with this group of guys?" They tried to get Brandon, and he didn't want to play. Now they got Smith, and I don't know. Would we think that Smith is a better not fit, but just a better overall player than what Brandon may be when he comes back.
Not a better overall player, but a better pass rusher.
Right, because I said even Brandon Graham in his prime wasn't like, if you think he's going to come out here and get 8 sacks, like that's not like
He
that's
only
not
had
what Brandon
one
Graham.
season of double-digit sacks, I think, in
Yeah,
his career.
Yeah.
And that happened to be like 3 years ago when he had 11. But yeah, he was never like a sack artist. Like he's not a guy who's going to help the pass rush, I wouldn't think.
And that's what they need help with.
Yes, exactly.
You know, I think he's going to get pressure. He might not get a lot of sacks, but I mean, he is good in pressures. I mean, obviously, he's famous for one of the most important pressures in the history of the franchise.
Absolutely.
But no, I don't know. I think he's going to help. But last year, Mike, you think he had 21 pressures, 4 sacks, 320 snaps. Like he wasn't playing. He wasn't the kind of guy that retired and you were like, yeah, hang him up, BJ. You know what I mean? Like he was.
I agree.
He still has some left.
I'm just wondering, like, I guess my question is getting Brandon Graham and hoping that he's Brandon Graham or any semblance of him enough, or they still need to look? Or do they think, hey, we got Brandon, we're going to get Nolan back, and that will be fine?
What does this say about Nolan Smith to anybody? Anything?
I think it's more about the other guys, to be honest with you. But it might be something about Nolan.
Because I mean, I think we all count Nolan Smith as some, proven commodity. And I
think I was on all summer long telling you guys, like, hey, we're just assuming that all these guys are what we saw in the run last year. Like, I don't know. And so far, Quinyon Mitchell has been better or the same. I asked, are these guys going to be better or the same? And I think Quinyon has been, I guess you could make an argument that Cooper's been better or the same. Same with Bond. Is Bond as effective this year as he was last year? Maybe in the same realm. I mean, he hasn't taken a huge drop off.
No, he's been great, but not,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. But not everybody, though.
Yeah.
Not everybody. Like Nolan Smith, obviously getting hurt, it's hard to evaluate him, but he wasn't what he was in that playoff run through the first couple games that he played. Jalen Hunt certainly isn't what you saw in the playoff run and late in the year. Because Jalen came in once Brandon got hurt, and you were like, oh, my God, this is going to be a disaster. And then he came in and did a really eye-opening job, and he hasn't been the same. Jalen Carter, I think, had his best game of the season this past week. I thought that hit on.
Oh my God! Really, it was the play of the game. It was.
All right. I thought that really changed the game. Yeah.
Carson was not the same after that hit.
He got ripped in that shot. But Jalen Carter has not been better or the same. He's been a little down from where he's.
Oh yeah,
now.
Maybe
he's taking the jump. So yeah, Nolan Smith. I had questions. And I think a lot of it is what we're seeing. His size is it's going to be hard for him to be a consistent 17-week player at that size. So when he plays, he might flash, but how much can he be on the field?
Well, the point I'm trying to make is November 4th is coming. I don't think this precludes Howie Roseman from trying to get something else as well. And if you get something meaningful, and I'm not talking about Trey Hendrickson, but I'm talking about, say, Bradley Chubb. And I use him because he has a long history with Big Fangio. If they get somebody like Bradley Chubb, does that fix the issues? Does everything fall into place? Nolan's the other starter when he comes back and he can take less reps at least. You kick Brandon down, you kick Jalix down. Does that fix the issues?
I don't know if it doesn't fix it, but it certainly makes you better. The question I would have is on that, like, Vic, does he want to play Jalix less? Like, is he at the point where he's like, we need to get someone to get him off the field? We're playing him too much. Like, who does he think he's playing too much?
I think everybody.
So then,
no, seriously, because
that's the question for Vic. I mean, he just talked yesterday, but hey, Vic, because he'll probably say, is there a guy you think is playing too much on your defense right now?
Well, he wouldn't answer that specifically. He would say and he already has. He's gone to his past, and he's often used 3 edge rushers because he's had to. But and he had to at the end of last year because of injuries as well. But I think especially with the group he has, you just talked about Nolan's lack of size. That's a thing. And when he's out there and playing as physical as he does, do you want him out there for 60, 65 snaps?
Well, yeah. Well, last year in the playoff run, how much was he playing?
He's playing quite a bit, but that was, again, injury related. People forget that not only Brandon was out, but also Bryce Huff, which, by the way, he's playing pretty well in San Francisco, but that's one of the few. I think Vic Fangio.
You knew that was going to happen.
Yeah. He got hurt, though. He's hurt. They got a lot of injuries.
I had somebody text in yesterday. They made a mistake letting Huff go. And
no, they didn't, because they weren't going to use him like Robert Saleh uses him. So, right. I mean,
but that is one of those things where it's like, hey, you signed this guy, you gave him real money, but you didn't use him correctly. Like, was that you being stubborn that you didn't want to acquiesce to his skill set? Or are you saying
I think it was them being stubborn?
Because he clearly does have some skill set, even if it doesn't work in Vic's. It's proven that he has a skill set.
Yeah. Well, I think the goal was
a skill set that the Eagles need.
I think the goal with Bryce was, we know you have this skill set, but we want you to become a more well-rounded player. Which, by the way, I don't think that's a bad sentiment. I think that's what you should be doing for players.
Well, and the thing is, though, he was a situational pass rusher with the Jets. I mean, did you think you were going to bring him in here and all of a sudden he was going to turn into Reggie White? I mean,
well, no, but I think the hope was that he could be a 3-down player. And my argument is, when you figured out he couldn't be a 3-down player, take advantage of what he can do. Right. That's where I think the Eagles went off the rails. But then he got hurt as well. The injury played into it because it was pretty significant injury.
I agree.
So anyway, to the point about Nolan playing a lot of snaps, and your point of, yeah, he had to do it late last season, but it's a very short run as opposed to 17 games and the playoffs. So I don't think you want him playing as many snaps as he played down the stretch. I think Vic doesn't want to in a best case world. And that's why I think the goal is to get somebody else as well, so everybody can kind of settle into their proper role from a playing time standpoint. I think they still want to add something, is my point. Doesn't mean
well, if they had to add one thing, is it edge or corner?
I mean, I think edge remains the bigger problem, because how many teams in this league have 2 really good corners? Now, and Vic will say different positions, but we're for the sake of argument.
What was your read on his yesterday? He was asked about Ja'Cory Bennett. Is he the guy they want to get to?
Well, I think when they traded him, I think, as you saw by Vic's assessment, I don't think he's thrilled with the early returns of the player.
Yeah.
So we could have a Bryce Huff situation.
He's been hurt, which has been his problem with the Raiders.
Yeah. And he basically said that he hasn't seen him enough, so he doesn't know what he is. But, I
guess my point is, they've already traded for him. They would trade for an edge ahead of trading for another corner, because they feel like if they can get him healthy, he would be the guy. Yeah.
I think so. Well, I don't think they think he's going to be the guy. I think they could persevere with the group of 3, that somebody at some point will give them enough. And between Adoree, Kaylee, and Ja'Cory, one of the 3. But that's what I said. Looking at the rest of the league, like, who has 2 corners like Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean? Howie Roseman said this, and I agree with him. He said, I look at that position as a strength because of those 2 guys, period.
Yeah.
And I agree with him.
And if you had better pass rush, the second guy isn't as exposed.
Yeah. But last year it was, you had them and Slay. So you had sort of an embarrassment and Rodgers, who was, got embarrassed by AJ. But if you use Rodgers correctly, he's a good player. Just not a great player. So yeah, they were much better last year, but I still think that position is a strength because of the presence of Quinion and Cooper. And what I've advocated, Vic's not listening, but what I've advocated is embrace Cooper's versatility. If you got a good outside receiver and a poor slot receiver, play him outside more.
Yeah.
If you got the CD Lamb week, he's got to play in the slot more, play him in the slot more. Use him where he's most needed because he can handle it. That's what I think they should do. And then you have that third corner, whoever it is, Keeley outside, Adoree outside, Mac McWilliams inside, Perry Nickerson inside, whoever it is. They'll have an easier time.
Point, I'm surprised that they haven't given Mac a shot. I liked him coming out of the draft, but maybe, they just want to get him more polished. But I would imagine in the second half after the bye, someone like him gets a shot. If they're still in the same situation.
Yeah, maybe.
I think after that bye, you might see some tweaks and some stuff like that. Instead of just throwing these guys, you got this giant game here, and then they can assess like where they are after 8 games, and then kind of just,
You don't think we're going to lose again to the Giants, do you?
I would think it would be shocking to lose to that team, not only on your home field, but twice in the same year. I'll tell you what, at the beginning of this year, I would say playing the Giants would be a pain in the ass because of their defense. It's not their defense that's the pain in the ass. Their defense, for whatever reason, has been a problem for them. They gave up 30 points in the fourth quarter the other day, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I was picking my girlfriend up at the airport. I drove from Deptford, Gloucester outlets to the Philadelphia
Those are nice,
airport.
By the way, Mike. Those are nice.
Yes, I drove from the Gloucester outlets to the Philadelphia airport and watched that lead evaporate on that drive. It only took me 20 minutes to see that lead evaporate. Their defense has been a huge problem for them. Who would have thought? You were like, okay, this defense is going to, they added defense. And you're like, man, if you play the Giants, it's going to be a pain to play them because their defense is going to get after you. They just are not anywhere close to what I thought they'd be defensively. And then, you lose Neighbors and you're thinking, the poor quarterback. Now, he's got no one to throw to. Well, he's throwing to some no-namers and then he's running around and then you got Scattaboo. But if they lost to them at home after losing to them, I get it. Losing to the Giants this year where you are and where they think where they are, it's unacceptable. But it's a short week. It's on the road. It's in the division. It's the way you lost to them that is unacceptable. The spot you can understand, okay, it's a Thursday night on the road in the division. But they kicked your ass. I mean, they beat you up and down that field. That was the alarming part. This time around, you would think if they come here that it's just they would be overwhelmed. But, look, they had that Denver team beat. And that's a good Denver team. Really, the kicker makes 2 extra points. They beat that Denver team. So I don't think you can take them lightly.
They cut that kicker, by the way.
Yes, he got cut. And they brought in Koo, right?
Yeah.
From Atlanta.
Yeah, the Falcons, yeah.
So you cannot overlook them at all with the way that they're. And by the way, they've literally physically beat you up. But yes, I would be pretty surprised if they swept you and beat you on your home field.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
And that game last week, they were on the road and were up at Denver. That's not an easy place to play when Denver stinks.
You're right. That was a bad loss. And you saw Brian Burns' reaction after that loss. I mean, he was incensed at the way they played defense down the stretch. So.
Are you surprised at how bad their defense has been?
Well, I mean, parts of it. The front is as advertised. I mean, Burns is having a tremendous year.
Yeah,
Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence is still Dexter Lawrence. Thibodeau can do some things. Abdul Carter's having a nice rookie season. I think those guys have lived up to the hype, but everything else is not. The corners are pretty bad. outside of Cordell Blott getting a pick six against the Eagles. I thought Banks was going to be a good player. He's not even starting. He has not developed well at all. The safeties are just kind of okay. The linebackers, Okeraki's been a good player. I don't think he's having a good season. So I think the front is as advertised, but everything else is kind of shaky. And then I think the coordinator had a bad plan when they had a big lead. It's not the first time we've seen that.
Not the
You
first
play
time.
you play the game a certain way, you get a big lead, and then you play a different way. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think Brian Burns
He's not the first, and he won't be the last.
No. And I think Brian Burns was upset by it. Not think. He was everybody saw it. He was really upset by the way they played at the end of that game. So we'll see. They have some issues as well off the field. We'll see how that works for them. No issues with Mike Gill. At Mike Gill Show, make sure you follow him on the X platform. Subscribe to his YouTube channel, 97.3 South Jersey. The Sports Bash, if you're local, listen every day to the 6th there. You mentioned tweaks on defense coming back from the bye. Well, Vic already made a tweak, and this one surprised me. And he said yesterday, well, the plan was, I thought Jihad Campbell played more on the edge because Azeez Ojulari played 4 snaps and got hurt. And I thought that was the reason Jihad played a lot more on the edge. Vic said, no, that was the plan. He wanted to play Nakobe Dean in base and Jihad in nickel.
By the way, I thought Dean was effective and was all over the place.
He was. And that's my question. Because Jihad Campbell has played well as a rookie.
Mm-hmm. By the way, he is the betting favorite for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he very much, maybe not. Well, he's not going to play as much. Do you think that's the case moving forward? Because Vic Fangio loves Nakobe Dean, and that was his first little splash, and he played well. That's a difficult decision for me because I love Nakobe as well, but Jihad's playing, so I can't take Jihad Campbell off the field.
No,
what do you do?
He did not give him. It wasn't like he gave him a glowing assessment of how he, played in the game as an edge rusher. He said, I thought he performed basically like I thought he would. It wasn't like, yeah, man, he's really changed the game for us. We could use him. So I'm interested to see, are they going to use him exclusively now as this edge guy, which I don't know that he made a huge impact in that role. It wasn't like, people like when Micah Parsons was a rookie, he was playing linebacker, and the Cowboys just had so many guys get hurt that they just had to move him to an edge spot, and he just disrupted the game to epic proportions. You see 30 coming from the end, and he's getting swallowed up for the most part, from what I saw, is, he made very little impact in the pass rush. So,
I don't think he's ready. I agree with you. I don't think he's ready to play on the edge. It's not going to be, to your point, a Micah Parsons situation. So that to me makes the conversation more difficult because he has been impactful off the ball. And, Big says he wants to get Nakobe in there. I love Nakobe too, but if I have to make that decision, I'm playing Jihad Campbell. Who's Mike Gill playing?
That's a tough one. I thought Dean played very well on Sunday, but Campbell has been very good in the sample size that he has. I think what I would do is try to see if I can unlock Jihad Campbell in this role because I need it so much. That's what I think I would try to do in this little stretch here. I'll tell you what.
Deep end of the pool is what I said. Just throw him in, see if he can do it.
Absolutely. Like, you have a stretch coming up. You play the Giants, then a bye. That stretch out of the bye is brutal.
Yeah.
So you've got a stretch coming out of that bye where you're playing Green Bay, Detroit, You got Chicago, who I know people are like, but the Bears are 4-2. They've won 4 in a row. Their offense is starting to come together. I think Ben Johnson's got something going with this offense now. Their defense was good last year. Now their defense is pretty solid. So that Bears team is they're not a Super Bowl contending team quite yet, but that's going to be a short week. It's a Black Friday game. There's one other team in there that's kind of like, you're like, they got Dallas. You got to play Dallas with that offense.
In Dallas.
Right, at Dallas with with that offense. So you're going to have to get this defense getting more pressure. So I think I would try to get Campbell unlocked in that role and play Dean in that spot. I don't think you should just bench Dean and not play him and have him standing on the sideline. So if I can utilize both of those guys, I'm going to see if I can try to unlock Campbell in that pass rushing role.
Yeah, we'll see what they end up doing. Mike, thanks for joining in today, brother. We appreciate you doing it. As always, it's one of our most popular segments every Wednesday, so we do appreciate it. Mike, thank you, brother. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, see you.
Thanks, bud.
Good stuff there from Mike Gill. Appreciate Mike Gill joining us in here on a Wednesday. We're going to talk to BLG coming up in a little bit as well. So good stuff overall from Mike Gill there, and we'll talk to BLG too as well. We get any super chats. We got HKP. Thanks for coming a member, brother. Philly Lock says Dean will take care of little Scat. Well, I think he's better at it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I do too. But the point is you can't take Jihad off the field now. Again, it's not an issue until or if you acquire another edge rusher. So let's say for sake of argument, they acquire Bradley Chubb. Then it becomes, all right, you're not going to play him on the edge. Now you almost have to play him on the edge. Even though Bick said had nothing to do with it. I mean, right now going into this game, you have the same three. You have Alex Hunt, Josh Uche, Patrick Johnson. Maybe Brandon Graham can give you 10 snaps if he has a good week. So you have the same issue. Vic pretty much intimated Aziz is not going to be ready this week. So that's it. And you can afford to just knock him down and see how he does as an edge rusher. Jihad I'm talking about, and playing Nakobe off ball. So, and by the way, I meant to get to that question on who's the green dot if Nakobe's in there, because Zach Bond has to do that when Nakobe isn't playing, but when Nakobe is playing, you probably want Nakobe doing it. But that's a full-time position. Did you want to jockey the helmets? So you're probably not going to do it, but that's something I didn't get to. More inside baseball stuff, but I love Nakobe as a player.
Dean. Wouldn't you think it would be Dean?
Well, it's Nakobe. I mean, he did it last year. He's the middle linebacker. He's the leader of the room, the on-field leader, when he's playing the entire game. But again, when you're not playing the entire game, then you have to do all this matriculation. So I think they'll keep it with Zach, I think, unless Nakobe becomes a starter, a full-time starter again, which I don't see that happening. But if they move Campbell to edge, then it could happen. So there's a lot of moving parts. The problem is I don't think he's ready to do it, Campbell, on the edge. Like, Mike brings up, and that's, Howie's fault. He brought up the comparison. That was a bad comparison with Micah Parsons. The minute Dallas did that, there was a huge impact, you could see, oh my God, you could see it right away. Early on, you haven't seen that at all from Jihad on the edge. In fact, more often than not, he's gotten sort of overmatched, and he's been a much better player off the ball. So you have this, you can only play 2 off-ball linebackers. And for those saying, well, why not play 3? They're not doing that. Vic that's not modern football. They're not doing that. So they can be on the field, but one's going to be an edge rusher. And you could even have Zach do it on occasion. So there's some versatility you can have, but the bottom line is, can they do it effectively? And to this point, it hasn't been that effective with Jahad Campbell. What I would do, though, is throw him in the deep end of the pool and see if more reps gets him there. That's what I would do. Because I do want Nakobe on the field. But
yeah, we'll see what they end up doing there with Vic Fangio. John, we'll take a quick commercial break right here on Birds 365. I want to thank everybody for being here today. HKP, I want to thank you also for becoming a legend member. I don't know why it doesn't tell me you became a legend, but it does tell me you became a member. So thank you, bro, for upgrading to legend. I appreciate that. That's major support of the channel. So appreciate that very much. We'll take a quick commercial break. And then coming up in about 15 minutes or so, we're going to talk to Brandon Lee Gowton coming up here on Birds 365.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to a Wednesday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen. Appreciate everybody being here today. Don't forget to hit that like button. We're going to talk to Brandon Lee Gowton in a little bit here, about 15 minutes, and we just talked to Mike Gill, so big thanks to Mike Gill for joining in. John, Howie Roseman did not have a good offseason. Would you agree with that?
No, because I've said it pretty consistently. I don't think he had a splashy offseason, but he was very honest. He explained the plan very early in the process. They were going to reboot, reset. So if you disagree with the plan, I don't have a problem with that from the standpoint of, if you want to say, well, the window's open, you got to try to win at all costs every single year. I get that philosophy, but I think if you approach it as just, all right, he missed on, evaluations, he missed on trades. You're ignoring a big part of the plan, which is more than one season. So I don't think he's been, there's two levels, you know, with Howie. It's either, oh, he fleeces everybody and he's the greatest general manager in the history of sports, which is way too much, and he's very good. And then the other side of, oh, Tank Bigsby stinks and Jacorian Bennett stinks, and so he made a mistake. It's way too early to make those evaluations, but not positive early. So it's kind of like I'm usually where I am in the middle, but yeah, I don't look at this offseason as a failure when you understand what they were trying to accomplish in the offseason, which was to reboot for the free future, which was the goal, and they did. And they're still a contender. Don't know where that's going to go. I think there's certain teams playing better than them. Not a lot, but certain teams. But by December, that might change. So there's still time to grow as well. So I think it's way too early to say it was a failure, and I think it's a fundamental misunderstanding of what they were trying to accomplish. So I can't go failure.
Well, there were still some definitely bad player evaluations.
There's always bad player evaluations. They had bad player evaluations last year when they won the Super Bowl. Bryce Huff being most notable. There's always bad player evaluation for every organization and every team.
Yeah, but everyone was this year. Who did Howie bring in outside of the draft picks that was a good signing?
Well, we dubbed it the Timu offseason for a reason. They weren't exactly, it's kind of easy when you're going after players like Saquon Barkley and you have a hit. Now, nobody thought it would be the hit.
I get it. It's easier to obviously, get credit when you sign a huge name.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you're actually trying to acquire difference makers as opposed to trying to reset a decade of cash spending, which was tops in the NFL. Yeah, there's going to be. Now, would you like to have hit on, we can go back in Eagles history to Super Bowl 52 when he hit on a bunch of Tamu guys. Tamu didn't exist at the time, but a bunch of clearance aisle guys, whether it was like Garrett Blunt or Chris Long or Patrick Robinson, guys like that. Would you like to have hits like that? Of course. And that's a little bit disappointing, but I think the best of them, I think, is been Josh Uche, and he's been pretty good. He's been.
I'm going to take my flowers on that, John. That was my bold prediction. He'd be the best Timu signing of the offseason.
So far, he's undoubtedly is. If you look at contributions elsewhere, I think AJ Dillon might be SOL pretty quickly. Charlie Hewlett's a long snapper. Now he's hurt, but he was fine. Adoree obviously is having the issues, but I think the cornerback issues when compared to the rest of the league are a little bit overblown. Patrick Johnson's been a nice re-add. He's done some nice things. Kylan Granson's contributed. But yeah, not a lot of Chris Longs in that. Patrick Robinson's in that list.
No, yeah, no doubt. All right, well, we'll see. I mean, doesn't feel like Howie's had a good year for this team. I mean, even bringing Brandon Graham back, if you listen to Brandon, and I'm just reading the tea leaves here, he wanted to come back. I don't think he wanted to retire. I think he wanted to come back. Howie told him, we're not going to give you a deal, and then he retires, and now, boom, now we're back calling Brandon Graham up because, injuries, I get it, and some other stuff has happened, but, you're not getting much from the other guys, so they're bringing back Brandon Graham. So I thought, hey, maybe they should have just brought Brandon Graham back on the veteran minimum as is.
Well, I think he's playing for the veteran minimum.
What he signed for now?
Not yet, but if you look at the last 2 years, it was incrementally down, but he was way over the veteran minimum. it's his standing in the organization. They're going to give him more than that. And he was part of the, the take your medicine off season as well. And they talked him in, basically talked him into the fairy tale ending. Like, it's never going to get better than this. We might as well tie it up in a bow. And again, I think Zadarius Smith was a good signing, but he retired. I mean,
I think we have a super chat on Zadarius Smith. Let me get to that thing real quick. Thomas says, what's better than the one former Eagle on retiring? How about two? Any whispers that Z Smith could come back for a playoff run are too soon? He was productive.
Yeah, I think he was trending very, very well.
He can't play us like that, Farzetta. You can't sign 5 weeks later, retire, and then come back.
That door is closed. But I thought he played well when he was here. I do. And I thought that was shaping up well as a late addition. But I always go back to the Parcells. 4 or 5 things happen every day in the NFL. You don't want to happen. You don't want to happen. Like AJ, some of them are simple. He's on Instagram. You don't want that to happen. You certainly don't want Zadarius retiring, but he did. And you got to roll with the punches. Clearly, they didn't want to be here. They didn't want to bring Brandon back. But, Nolan's hurt. Obo's hurt. Even somebody like Obo, if he doesn't get hurt, Brandon's not back. Jalix isn't taking that huge step. Uche's been fine. Ojulari has not been fine. So you're 1 of 2 there. Patrick's been okay, but he's more of a special teams player. Yeah, I mean, I've been complaining about that edge room for a long time, but clearly, it's about 2026 and 2027, which I get. Again, if people want to argue, well, this is a Super Bowl level team and they should have kicked that can down the road, I have more. I'll listen to that or argument more than I don't want to name the reporter, but I tabbed at that behind the scenes of the immediacy of judging everything in the immediacy of the moment, which is not what his job is about. And it angers him when people go that route. But
so
it's part of the process,
he should just stop getting angry when people say shit and just do the job. Jason says, I get that Howie had a budget and couldn't keep everyone. Curious why he didn't use some 26 picks to move up in the draft to get more quality players.
Well, he did. He got a pretty quality player at 31. He was trying to move up higher as well, by the way. He was trying to go up to 22 was the highest spot I confirmed, and some people have reported even higher than that.
Would that have been for Campbell too?
Yeah. But 22 I know of, and he got him at 31. Later, I think everybody should be happy with Makuba at 64. There's some growing pains, but I think that's going in a positive direction. And then when you get down to Ty Robinson, it's like, then it's a crapshoot. So, you can play that game in the draft where, you look at the players around the player, but I mean, that's easy, And again, all systems are not the same. All schemes are not the same. Just because somebody plays well in a certain situation doesn't mean you can parachute them into a different situation, have the same kind of success. But I think the first 2 picks are, especially considering where they're picking as the Super Bowl champions, pretty darn good, those first 2 picks. I don't know how anybody could complain about those 2 guys.
Yep, I agree. Jeff Bone says, "You think Z Smith got hurt to the point of abruptly retiring?" No, because wouldn't you want to just stay on the roster? Because then you can get the medical facilities.
Yeah,
And
then
things like
and if you got to go on injured reserve, you get paid.
Yeah.
He walked away. No, now maybe as an older guy, but all I can do is when he was here, he was saying he felt fine, and and it was actually helped him to not go through training camp and things like that. So I certainly, he just would have went on injured reserve and taken the money, but no, he just for whatever reason. Again, there's a million things that can happen in somebody's personal life that changes your philosophy overnight. He's got young kids. I don't know what happened, but he walked away, and everybody was kind of blindsided by it. Like nobody expected it. Certainly, the Eagles didn't expect it. And that's what happens. That's why I always bring up the Parcells stuff. You got to be able to pivot quickly in this league.
Yeah, I get it. Good stuff. Appreciate it. Jeff Bone. Thank you, my man. Paul Barbarian says Chubb makes sense based on scheme familiarity.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's
talking about him.
He was with Vic in Denver and Miami, so he knows the scheme. He's comfortable with it. That would be the home run to me. If we're able to acquire him. And again, he's not a superstar, but he's better than what you have. And I think it makes you a better football team if they could pull off something like that. But it takes two to tango. And we'll see if Howie can get something done. But I do think that bringing Brandon back does not at all stop him in trying to get something done at the trade deadline.
Here's a super I didn't expect to see today. Philly Lock says Kelsey might come back. No. No way.
No. Have you seen Jason makes more money outside of football?
Yeah.
And two, he's lost a lot of weight. So he's not prepared to come back.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing with it. Fletcher too. If you see Fletcher, I saw Fletcher at the NASCAR.
Oh yeah, he's very slim, slim,
man. Looks like a different guy. So yeah, that's a big part of it. Philly Lock, appreciate the super chat. Appreciate everybody out there for all the love today, all the support on the show. As always, Birds sitting at 5-2. John, another season of a good start for Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman in this era of Eagle football. So they are sitting pretty right now, John. Despite the sporadic start. If you look statistically, John, they're really not great at anything. And I think that that is something maybe to keep an eye on. But my bigger takeaway on it is they just keep finding ways to win, and they're a great winning team, because there is an art to winning close games. Most games are close in the NFL. Let's be real. I forget what the percentage is of games that are one score. It's most of them though, and they just find ways to win, John, despite being right now they're middle of the pack defensively, and I think a little bit below middle of the pack offensively.
Yeah, it troubles me. I'm not worried about the rankings, but it troubles me that they keep getting outgained every week because the history of the league says if you do that, you're not going to be a significant contender. I brought up that number. It was 6 games going into last week. It's now 7 consecutive games they've been outgained by the opponent. For those who were 0 for 6, there were 96 of them, and only 5 made the playoffs, and none made the Super Bowl. And it continued. Now they're 0 for 7. That kind of stuff generally catches up to you. Why they're able to overcome it is their obsession with ball security. They win that turnover ratio. It's pretty amazing because there's a lot of, and NFL teams hate this, and I know the Eagles hate it, luck when it comes to turnovers. But they do practice it more than anybody else. I've been to a lot of NFL practices over my life, and I've never seen a team spend more time on ball security and takeaway drills as well. And they win it almost every week, like clockwork.
Yeah.
So you do have to give them some kind of credit for that.
Yeah, West Philly says number 1 red zone, number 4 red zone D. That's right. And Sammy, 1 super chat, then we'll get to BLJ coming up next. Sammy Livingston says, would you pull any players off the Dolphins defense because they wanted Vic gone? I don't know what
Well,
you
the
mean.
secondary wanted Vic on. I don't know if anybody. There's a couple guys in the secondary who don't like playing. Jalen Ramsey being most notable, but also Xavier Howard. They're true press corners, so they weren't comfortable. I think it was overblown. Just some of the D-backs who didn't like the scheme, which is fine. It happens all the time. But no, it wouldn't. I mean, Chubb is with them in Denver as well. I don't think he has a problem with them.
Me neither. Sammy, good super chat. Appreciate everybody for being here today. All right. Thank you. Hit that like button. Let's go to our main man, BLG. Brandon Lee Goutwin, set to join us right here on Birds 365. You could follow him at Brandon Goutwin and read all his work at bleedinggreennation.com. BLG, welcome to the program, my friend. How you doing on this Wednesday morning?
Doing good, guys. Glad to be here.
Good to see you, BLG. Where should we start? I don't want to start with BG, so I'll start with the perfect passer rating. Boy, this is such a weird team, BLG. They go into the game. The whole plan was run the football. And they still can't run the football, and they're out there throwing it like one of the greatest offenses in the history of mankind. How do you explain this stuff?
Like you said, I think running the football against the Vikings was a sound plan, given that they've had issues defending the run this year, and they had one of the best passing defenses in the NFL prior to Week 7. But it's just not going to be the identity of this team right now. That doesn't mean it can't get better, can't change, but right now they're just not able to do what they did in 2024 to the same level. And certainly they realize that, not only throughout the game, but also in the most key moment of the game on that final drive, where a lot of teams, and the past version of the Eagles team, probably would have tried to run it multiple times there at the end, force the Vikings to take their timeouts. But it was clear they shouldn't do that and couldn't do that. So they got aggressive and they passed the ball because that was working for them. And they have to lean into that right now, in my mind. They have to lean into more of chucking the ball deep downfield when you have, for all his flaws, a quarterback who is, and by Nick Sirianni's own admission, really good. It's one of the best deep balls in the league. And wide receivers who can make plays down the field. So it's weird. And I'm not saying all of a sudden it's ideal to have Jalen Hurts drop back 40 times in a game. But again, you're not able to rely on the run right now. You have to take more shots downfield.
Do you feel confident they're going to be able to do that after what you saw this week, BLG? I mean, I was looking at the game plan. Me and John talked about this. I don't think Brian Flores had the best game plan for a team that was struggling against zone coverages and struggling to run the ball. But the Eagles do deserve a lot of credit for the way they were able to do it. Do you feel like they'll be able to kind of be a passing team for a little bit? It hasn't really been their MO, in this era of the Birds.
Well, again, with those deep shots, it's not like you're going to hit on all of them. Obviously, those are not as high percentage plays as other plays, but you don't need to hit on all of them. You just need to take some chances because at some point, the upside of those is going to help you or has the potential to help you out in a big way. So, again, I don't think I'm under no illusion that you're going to have Jalen drop back 40 times in the game. You're still going to have to try to run the ball. You can't just abandon it entirely, but it can't be your bread and butter right now. It's just not what this team is good at. You have to lean into what they can be potentially good at, and that it's clearly, again, force feeding these receivers and as it relates to down the field and for hunting for explosive plays. They need more aggression and explosive plays in this offense. That was apparent earlier in the season, and you saw why, the value of that and why there's a call for that in this game.
Here's my concern, BLG, because philosophically, I agree. Sometimes, when you have playmakers, you just got to get them the ball as much as possible. But if somebody does show up And we saw this with Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. And they say, hey, I'm going to play my safeties in the parking lot and force you to go incrementally down the field and hope you make a mistake and play cover two. And I'm thinking, in cover two, there's deficiencies in every defense, but you're generally going to have to go for those turkey hole shots in between the corner and the safety on the outside, or you're going to have to go the seam route when we saw Jahad Campbell running the pole where you have linebackers with tight ends. I haven't seen those throws from this offense. If somebody shows up and does that, as opposed to leaving Isaiah Rodgers on A.J. Brown and man coverage, can the Eagles do that, or did they have to prove they could run the football to make them come out of that? So I still think the running part of it, and it doesn't have to be last year, but it's got to be competent. They're not even competent. I think at some point, something's got to give. They have to figure this out. And I don't know what the answer is, but I know they need to figure it out.
Yeah. I do agree. The run game has to get, it doesn't have to be what it was last year, but it has to be better than it is this year at some point in time. And I guess my thought on it at this point in time is I'd like to see them as most people talk about more traditionally trying to run to set up the pass. I would like to see them try to pass to set up the run at this stage. And I'd also like to see, Jalen Hurts be a little bit more involved here as a runner. I know that's a fine line between, not exposing him to extra hits and stuff like that. But I think there is a way to do that more where he can run a little bit more than he has and still not, totally be reckless with using him in the run game there. So, but yeah, I go back to just trying to set up the run by passing the football, because you can't just come out running. We've seen that. They've tried to do that. It's not working for them. Again, you don't just give up on it entirely, but you can't make that, we're just going to do this, and then everything else will fall into place, because I don't think that's the case right now.
Do you think there's anything to them? Maybe, and I don't think they're doing this, but I guess it's fair to wonder. I was watching this Saquon documentary last night on Amazon. I finally got to it. It was a great documentary, by the way. But you hear Saquon talk about, early in his Giants days, I had 300 carries last year. They're running me into the ground, and it's like he had over 400 last year.
482.
Yeah, 482. That's a lot of freaking carry. I mean, that's like 2 seasons for some running backs. I wonder if maybe they're trying to keep the load light until maybe later in the year, where I think they're really going to need them, for the playoffs. Now, the production is the production. The yards per carry are not good, so you can't get around that. But I do wonder if they're not really pushing it, yet until later in the year. I don't know if there's any merit to that or what you would think of that, but it is something to keep an eye on, I think, when you have a running back coming off of 480 carries.
I mean, yeah, I absolutely think, they're not ignorant to that, but at the same time, I think they would be leaning into it a lot more if it was working. And it's just not. And I don't think that's, again, as we've talked about, mainly because of Saquon, because of the way he's getting contacted like earlier than ever, basically in his career, in terms of, the offensive line not really giving him, and not just the offensive line, but the tight ends too, who can't block, giving him no room to work with there. And there's a play in this game, that illustrates he still has the movement ability. You saw it when he's about to get tackled for a loss.
Spin move.
And like shakes out of it.
Yard, yeah.
Like one of the more impressive 4-yard runs we'll see.
He looked like he still has plenty of juice. That's why I can't figure out what completely is going on. And, this week, Dexter Lawrence is, as we saw a couple weeks ago, is tough to deal with in any circumstance, but the potential is Cam Jurgens is not going to be there. Brett Toth handled things. I'm not going to say well, but I think they did a decent job in pass protection, but I do think there were a lot of tackles for loss, as you mentioned. So not in the running game. What do you do this week when you have a week to prepare? Let's presume that Cam's not going to be able to go. You can move Landon Dickerson. You could just put Brett Toth in there. You can let Drew Kendall maybe as a natural center handle things. What way does BLG go?
I do like what we saw out of Drew Kendall back in the summer. I don't know that it means if he's ready to play now, but I would like to have him active at least, if Cam Jurgens can't play for sure, which he would be. I think ideally in a game, it's not as ideal to move Landon Dickerson when Jurgens goes down, because then you're changing two spots on the fly, and that doesn't seem like the most ideal scenario. But now that you have the time to go into the game and game plan, I think I would rather see Dickerson at center there, and you could put Toth in at left guard, and then obviously have Drew Kendall, ready should anything happen there. Is that how you guys would handle it?
Yeah, I've often said, now Landon's obviously not having a typical year for him. But he's been a great player, obviously, at his standard. And I always joke that even though the Eagles had a Pro Bowl center, Landon Dickerson was their best center. And I still believe that. I don't know how he is physically. Obviously, he's gone through a lot so far this season. But man, people forget he was a hell of a center at Alabama. And Cam's a great player too, but I honestly think that Landon Dickerson is their best center. So I would play him at center. I'm with you. And I would let Brett Toth handle left guard, which is not, anytime Brett's out there, good guy, but it's not what you want compared to what you have. But everybody's got injuries, and this year it seems to be more prevalent than ever. So many teams are crippled on the offensive line. So the Eagles are better than most. So you can't use that as an excuse. Ship to the other side of the football. BG's back. That solves everything, right?
I'm conflicted on Brandon Graham coming back, not because I don't like the guy. Obviously, how could you not like Brandon Graham?
Phenomenal, dude. Phenomenal.
And I don't blame him for wanting to play. Of course, football players want to play football. Like, of course, and he was playing great before he got hurt last year. Like, really, really good. I think way better than anyone would have thought, given his point in his career. He made like a lot of high impact kind of plays before he got hurt last season. So I absolutely think he can help this team, especially given how dire of a situation it is there at rusher. I just think, and I don't think it tarnishes his legacy by any means. I just think, it is a little bit of a bummer for me to see a player have that like just incredibly rare opportunity to go out on top. And, maybe the Eagles win a third Super Bowl. And if he does, then even better story at that point. But falling short of that, which is obviously not likely, then I just think it's kind of a bummer that both he kind of had to come back because the team needed him so badly, and that they couldn't just kind of preserve that ending. Which, by the way, Howie Roseman himself had said, according to Brandon Graham earlier in the offseason, was like, BG originally did have interest in coming back, and Howie was like, no, the story is too good.
Yeah, well, I wish they brought him back originally and didn't make him hang him up to begin with, but I digress on that. BLG, what do you think of the defense overall, man? I mean, they had 2 takeaways versus the Vikings, but they did give up a lot of yards. Now, I think we all kind of expected that the defense wasn't going to be what they were last year, coming off of, all the losses that they had. But how do you evaluate that group as a whole through 7 games?
Yeah, I mean, it's an imperfect unit, and it's one of the least expensive defenses in the NFL. It is the youngest defense in the NFL. So they're not going to be the same group last year that surrendered the fewest points in the league, especially after losing a number of key contributors too. So we have to hold them, the royal we here, like to a different standard, than we do the offense, which is the most expensive offense in the NFL by a significant margin. It's a different kind of situation here. So relative to what you can and reasonably should expect for them, not perfect, but I feel I'm okay with that unit and how things are trending for them. There are some, concerns about, can they continue to, make all these like high leverage plays in the red zone? Because while red zone defense, I think there is something to being good down there in terms of skill, year over year. Those numbers typically aren't static and sticky. They kind of fluctuate a lot. So part of that is randomness, luck in there as well. So ultimately, I think, when it comes to like the big picture, I'm not worried about the defense sinking the team relative again to expectation. That's not my biggest concern, but they do have flaws. Obviously, cornerback, edge rusher, they are a flawed unit.
Yeah, one thing about Vic I was very surprised about. He was asked about the red zone stuff, and he kind of admitted, well, there was some luck in there too.
Yeah.
They snapped the football over his head. Hawkinson almost completed the catch, but didn't. Jefferson almost completed the catch, but didn't. So it could have went a drastically different way. So I thought Vic was very honest about that, than just leaning on the tremendous end result, which was tremendous. The other part of Vic that surprised me, BLG, is I thought, and I think a lot of people thought, Jahad Campbell was out on the edge more because Azeez Ojulari got hurt right away.
Mm-hmm.
And that enabled Nakobe Dean, who, by the way, I thought looked great. And Vic said, no, that was the plan. I wanted to put Nakobe in a sub-package base defense player, and play Jahad off ball in nickel. That surprised me. Did that surprise you at all? Because Jahad Campbell's been playing great at off-ball linebacker. That is a difficult, again, it's a great problem to have, but problem is in that sediment. You can't play three linebackers in the modern NFL, off-ball linebackers. So to get three on the field, Jahad's basically got to play on the edge. He does not look ready to be impactful off the edge. What do you do in this situation?
Yeah, I agree with the assessment that I just don't think Jahad Campbell is any kind of a full-time edge rusher. That's just not. I don't see that being, his long-term home, at least right now, for sure. So it is interesting to me to hear Vic Fangio say that. Also because, what does happen when they're able to fill out edge rusher a little bit more, when you get Brandon Graham in here, maybe they make a trade, Nolan Smith, other guys get healthy. We'll see. What does the playing time look like then for the off-ball linebackers? It seems kind of crazy to me that you'd be taking – Nakobe Dean's really good. No argument there. But Jahad Campbell's the future of the team. Nakobe Dean is going to be a free agent after this year. And as Vic will tell you, like, the only way to get better is reps. And when you're not giving Jahad Campbell reps, he's not going to be getting better, not only for this season, but for next year as well. So – and you spent a first-round pick on him. Like, it's just like to not have him on the field at some point there, that would be really weird to me, especially, again, given how encouraging I think of the start of the season he has had.
Bill J, how do you evaluate Kevin Patullo? The name just keeps going on social media, man. I don't think it's going to end with everybody talking about Kevin Patullo. But I will say there's some merit. Like, I read Kurt Warner on Twitter, and he puts up these breakdowns. And Kurt's excellent on Twitter for anybody that doesn't follow, and you should, about watching the way Shane Steichen just adds an advantage to Daniel Jones and has him prep, pre-snap, post-snap. He's got options for him in every play, and he brings that advantage to the offense, for the players. I don't think we're getting that with Kevin Patullo. Now, I don't know if it's all on Kevin Patullo. Maybe it's not in your eyes, but how do you gauge and how do you evaluate Kevin Patullo so far this year?
Yeah, it's a weird one, especially coming out of this game, because they did some good things on offense and, under center. Wow. That helped them a bit, which is what a lot of people have been calling for. And you saw, obviously, the play to Devontae Smith was in structure, the touchdown that he had.
That was an old school NFL shot play. I never thought we'd see that from this offense.
But it feels like, and maybe this is anecdotal, to be fair, but it feels like every time we hear, and I know Patullo addressed this in his press conference, but it feels like every time we kind of hear like, oh, there's this great play, or like, this breakthrough kind of play for the offense, it's like a player has this heavy role in either like suggesting it or being involved. Maybe that's normal than we give it credit for in general, but but even going to that and also looking at some of the plays that Jalen Hurts had in the passing game, such as, his touchdown to AJ Brown, where, he's making plays out of structure and scrambling. It feels like sometimes the players just playing serves this team better than the offensive structure does for this team. So it's kind of, it makes me wonder, like, should the players have a more bigger role in all of this? Because as the coaches will even tell you, it's players, not plays. So it's weird. It's weird to parse through. They obviously deserve some level of credit, but I don't know that they are, I think at a very simple level, we look at coaching and how we define good coaching, and it's like making the talent better, making things easier for them. And I don't think that's like always the case here.
Yeah, I think that's fair, but to the lobbying point, that literally happens every week in the NFL. I don't think that's a big deal at all. And I think, as they get asked that more, I think you'll see those questions asked. Certainly at Devontae, I think he'll admit that's like a common occurrence. And there's nothing wrong with it. That's what they should do, because they're the guys on the field. They're seeing, Devontae saw something that he could take advantage of. He lobbies, and it goes through the chain of command. They use it. It works. That's to me, that's awesome football from high football IQ players, which is what Kevin said. So I don't blame that on them at all. To your point about the on schedule stuff, and that's what was so brilliant about the shot play. That was on schedule.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest plays in the game, though, the 3rd and 9, the 3rd and 13, I believe 3rd and 15, those conversions, those are all Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, but that's the advantage you have with a player who can extend plays and do those things. And, Kevin was talking about that. And there is some structure to it in that you don't want guys just rumbling around and not having a plan in a scramble drill. But I don't know. I can't blame coaches or court or play callers. If you got a playmaker and a playmaker makes a play, just be grateful. That's what I'm like. Hey, that's the biggest strength of Jalen Hurts' game. And it's the biggest strength of Josh Allen's game and Lamar Jackson's game. You can do everything right as a defense, and Jalen Hurts can still beat you. I think that's a huge positive for the Eagles offense, a huge positive, because the play that won the game, BLG, that was actually a good defensive call. I don't think Brian Flores had a good game, but that was a good defensive call by Brian Flores. He dropped the defensive back underneath, and Isaiah Rodgers bit on the slant and then it go, which he shouldn't have done because he had help underneath. And Jalen extended the play, and they win the game. I think that's kind of stuff is all positive. But for whatever reason, I don't know. People want to blame the coordinator. And I don't think it's the coordinator as much as the players. As you said, players over plays. I always, when it's good, I say it's the players.
Yeah.
When it's bad, I say it's the players. But most people say when it's good, it's the players, and when it's bad, it's the coaches. I don't think you can have it both ways. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I've said that in the past too, where like fans don't get the jerseys of the coaches, right? You get the jerseys of the players.
Yeah, right.
You're not going to want to blame the players. They're your favorite players. You like those guys. You don't care about the coaches, generally speaking. Like, no one has an emotional attachment to Kevin Patullo entering the season, or at least if you did, then you're probably related to him or something. But most people don't care about him. So therefore, if things are bad, it's just very easy to be like, well, it's that guy I don't even like anyway, as opposed to it's my favorite player not playing well enough. I think there's a big psychological thing going on with that. But I will say, I do think one thing you would like to see from the coaching staff is, have more answers. I mean, Nick Sirianni talked about solutions, and early in that game, they certainly did not look like a team with solutions, with how every single week they have these drives. And in this game, it was after the first, touchdown
After the
drive.
First drive was
Which,
good.
to their credit, very strong opening drive. And I liked Sirianni's decision to go for it on 4th and 4, even if they didn't get that. I thought it was really good to be aggressive there. But after that, you have 9 plays for 8 yards, and somehow 18 yards included in those 8 yards there were on these third down give up plays, so like kind of fake yardage there. Like, just terrible. Every week.
I'll tell you what, my biggest concern about this team is they get outgained every week. And the only reason is there's a lot of circumstance of that. Like, obviously Minnesota in this game was behind most of the game, so they're desperate. They're passing the ball that's more susceptible to get yardage. But the history of this league says if you get outgained that much every single game, eventually you're not going to be very good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the number was, and Dave Gerhardt put this out, the number was 96, I believe. 96 teams started the season 0-6 when it came to getting outgained. 5 of those made the playoffs. None made the Super Bowl. That's where the Eagles were. Now they're 0-7. That concerns me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't, at a very simple level, you cannot get outgained every week. And they also have they have a low point differential too. I think 16th in the NFL. A lot of metrics right now, again, doesn't mean they can't improve, but right now, I think overall, even though they're 5-2, they're an average kind of team. And you just look at it a simple way from, Jordan Davis field goal block, doesn't happen. They lose that game, which is, pretty feasible. They're 4-3. So yeah, they're kind of a 500 team.
Well, we'll see where they go from here, BLG. They are 5-2. They're not really ranked too high in anything, so it's kind of like one of those teams right now where I think they're still finding themselves, but they do know how to win games, which is obviously a good thing. I didn't want to talk about this, BLG, but we got to, I guess. AJ Brown keeps going to social media. What do you make of it?
I think people need to stop paying attention to AJ Brown's social media because I think it's not. I don't know. I don't know because none of us know what he's saying. Is it weird? Sure. But if you don't like it, I don't know. I think you just kind of have to not look at it. I don't know if it actually matters that he puts an Instagram post with some vague thing because I don't know. I just don't even know, honestly, what he means. I'd rather hear from him himself and in person. But I don't know. I don't. I look at that and I'm like, this could mean
the front office thinks of it.
I don't know if they know. I think you look at it and it's just like this could mean one of a billion things. Like we're sitting here trying to play, like detective.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think he likes trolling people. I think AJ likes trolling people.
Possibly.
Yeah, but it could be. Yeah, to your point, it could be a million different things. I'm with you. The only thing I would think from a meaningful football perspective, I do think that at some point, people have asked me that question so many times over the past go, are the Eagles going to trade AJ Brown? I always say, no. They're not going to trade him at the deadline. No, they're not trading him. All the Boston bullshit, trying to manufacture it. No. This offseason, for the first time, I would say, but I think the door is slightly ajar, which is a change. And I think it's changed because of some of the, do you really want to deal with this every week? I mean, this is after a game where everything was great. Perfect passer rating, 2 touchdowns, big plays all over the field. At some point, you might have to address it.
I tend to think, it's weird. It's definitely weird. I'm not denying that. I tend to think, though, like when you make that trade, like Howie Roseman did for AJ Brown, you're like that players like that don't become available, and you got one. You better not screw that up. Like,
I agree. I mean, Howie's generally not in the business of giving away good players. So I still think it's a long shot, but I entertain it. Like I never entertained it before. Now I at least, and again, not this season, not at the trade deadline, this off season. If things continue to go this way for the rest of the season, I think you have to at least entertain it. But we'll see. That's for way down the road. For this week, and make sure you follow BLG on the X platform at Brandon Gouton. Read him at Bleeding Green Nation. Nonstop shop for all your Eagles news each and every day. New York Giants, second time in 3 weeks.
Hmm.
They really dominated the Eagles on a short week. A lot of crazy stuff. You don't practice that week. I hate Thursday football. I think this is a good spot for the Eagles. They're going to be a little bit angry about getting outclassed at MetLife Stadium. The Giants had that collapse. There's no way the New York Giants are going to sweep the Eagles in the season series. Is there, BLG?
Famous last words to say no way.
No way. That's where I'm going. No way.
I do think the Eagles are going to be playing a lot more motivated in this one and take this game more seriously than they did because they were not ready to play in that Thursday night game. It's kind of like if the Eagles are a serious team, they really need to show us here in that they took that last loss personally. They're going to build off this Vikings win. They have the bye next weekend. So, empty the tank relative to, being able to kind of rest up next week. I think they have to go out and assert themselves in this game and be like, hey, we're not going to stand for that last loss. We're going to turn things around here, get a win, get to 6-2, beat an opponent comfortably for once. And that's if they're a serious team, that's what they will do. They will go into this game wanting to make a statement and walk out winners and feeling like, they're the superior team. Again, 6-2, entering the bye, and really good opportunity because then you're like, okay, it's a nice little reset at that point. You're feeling good, and then you get to the second half of the season once the bye is over.
We'll see. I think they're going to beat the crap out of them this weekend, but we'll see what ends up happening. BLJ, appreciate you joining in as always, brother. Make sure you guys follow him at Brandon Gouton. We appreciate you, my man. We'll talk to you again next week. All right, brother.
See you guys.
All right.
Thanks, man.
BLJ joining us right here on Birds 365. Johnny Mac, good show today. Two great guests as always on our Wednesday. What is on the agenda? Wednesday is the biggest day of the week always for this.
Oh, yeah. Wednesday, big practice day. Nick Sirianni, a little bit after noonish. I forget the exact time. Practice at 3:05. Locker room does not open until 5-ish. Jalen Hurts will speak after maybe the best game he's ever played. Certainly in the conversation for it. But now it's time to turn the page and look at those New York Giants.
Yeah. What do you think about that game? I mean, they're riding a little bit of a high, but they also got knocked back to earth with one of the worst fourth quarter collapses. I do think they're gonna beat this team this weekend, John, the Eagles. I think they're gonna beat up on the Giants this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that in MetLife, but it even more so because of what went on at MetLife. I do think it's trending well in the Eagles' direction, and but you do have to give. And Vic said some nice things about Jackson Dart as well yesterday. Should have mentioned that. He has given that team some juice. So you do have to give him credit for that. It's a playmaker, much in the ilk of as he patterns his game after Jalen Hurts. He can do things off schedule, and you saw that in the first game. So it's one of those things where that's the frustrating thing for coaches. When it works, it's beautiful. When it doesn't work, it can kind of look ugly when you're not doing things on schedule. But, there's those all plays where you're just making something out of nothing. And that's the kind of juice he's given to a Giants offense that, without Malik Neighbors doesn't have a ton of playmakers. And that's when you need a guy who can maybe create something out of nothing. Defensively, look, the front is good and the back seven is not good. That's how I describe the Giants. So
I agree.
It's tougher without if Cam Jurgensen, and that'll be the biggest practice news. Is Cam out there at all? I don't think he's going to play this week, but we'll get a better indication of that. Vic kind of said that Aziz is not going to play. So, hopefully they can look at Brandon Graham and get him out there as quickly as possible. But they do have a 2-week exemption for that. And the bye week is coming up. So as BLG said, you can kind of reset and put everything out on the field and know you're going to have some time to rest up afterwards.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening this week, Johnny Mac. Hopefully we can go AJ tweet free, but it is what it is. I'm over AJ's tweets at the end of the day.
It's Instagram. He can hide from me on Instagram because I don't give a flying what about.
Oh yeah. So it's not Twitter. That's right. It is Instagram. I should say that. Well, the other thing is, you talk about the phases, John, on phase, off phase offense. His catches weren't really on phase really this week.
No.
Other than the seam catch.
The seam catch.
The seam that was beautiful. That was maybe one of my favorite throws of the year by Jalen. But the one was the comeback on the scramble play. The other one was obviously the touchdown pass where Jalen pointed him to the end zone. So I don't know. Maybe AJ is still upset at the offense. Who freaking knows? But at the end of the day,
the other and the pass at the end of the game was also off
right,
schedule.
that was the fourth one. Yeah,
right. So, but I mean that counts. And it also proves that the narrative that Jalen and AJ don't like each other now. I mean, they're doing off schedule stuff, and when Jalen needs to make a play, he's looking at AJ. So on the field, things. Yeah, that's the thing. Nobody's happy with, it's got to be on phase. It's off schedule. You can't count on off schedule. All that is correct. But
I don't know. You almost at a point with Jalen Hurts where you can count on the off schedule. You just can't count on what it's going to look like.
Well, yes and no. It's not going to be that consistent. Again, that's the high point. 158 point. You can't get higher than that. That's the high point. That's as good as it can get. Generally, it's not going to be that every week. So it is good to get the on-phase stuff going as well. And he had two bad 50-point scorer game. That's what I said. He had two big on schedule throws. So he was doing both things well. He was really, really cooking in that game. But you can't expect that every week. If you do, you're going to be disappointed.
John, good stuff, man. Your final thoughts on this Wednesday edition of Birds 365?
Yeah, let's do it. Nick Sirianni talking about Brandon Graham. That's phase 1 today. We'll stay on phase.
Yeah, good stuff there. All right, Johnny Mac, good show, man. We'll talk to you tomorrow on a Thursday edition of Birds 365.
All right, see y'all.
All right, thanks, brother. There's Johnny Mac. John McMullen joining us here on Birds 365. Great stuff there. Wednesday edition here today. We'll do a giveaway today. We got some things to talk about. First thing I want to say is I watched the Saquon doc last night. We'll talk about some stuff. And I'll use that doc to why I just told Matthew to shut the F up. He has the IQ of a gnat because people act like these athletes are not human beings. I mean, anybody who thinks the athletes aren't human beings and this stuff means nothing to the team is stupid. Go watch the Saquon documentary. Every day, every game after, he's dealing with organization, talking to the GM, dealing with the contract, dealing with the fallout, going to social media. It's a part of the game. Stop acting like it's not a part of the game. I cover the Philadelphia Eagles. If you don't want me to talk about it, then go tell AJ to not tweet. Don't get mad at me, all you shrimps. Seriously, every last one of you. Oh my God, how could you talk about it? What are you talking about? I cover the Eagles. They're human beings. Acting like it doesn't matter. It does matter. Whether you think it matters or not isn't the point. It's going to be talked about. Including you, Dabney. All right. So we will do a giveaway today. By the way, speaking of that Saquon doc, fire doc. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did because it started out with a lot of the the contract, and I was kind of like, all right, I'm kind of done with the Saquon New York contract stuff. But it was a really good doc, and it really showed. He's been filming himself for years. Like after games, like even he was filming himself through the year last year in the Eagles year. Right 3 days before the Super Bowl game. He's in his hotel room in Arizona or wherever where was the Super Bowl last year? Was it Arizona? I don't even remember. That's crazy that I don't remember. No, 57 was New Orleans. Duh. 57 was in Arizona. But, you know, he was in his hotel room filming, getting ready for the big game. He had a lot of footage of himself, and he documented his thought process through everything, through the contract, through New York, through Philly, through everything, so it was really cool to kind of see some of the behind the scenes footage of Saquon Barkley. And, I tweeted out last night. Saquon is so much bigger than a great athlete. I mean, he's one of those players. He's that type of player where I tweeted, I forget exactly what I tweeted, but you build teams around him. You build cultures around that type of player. He's a big personality, but not in the normal big personality way that you would think. He just provides this unflappable belief and confidence and, leadership. And he's a good dude. He's a family dude. The way he was with his daughter in the documentary, it was just cool. Yeah, I agree, Joe Webb. Saquon's daughter is the star. I agreed. But it was really cool to see, man. I'm a big Saquon fan. Humble guy. Great word for him, dank. But again, that's why I tweeted it out. He's the type of dude that's you build entire teams around him. You build cultures around him. He's that big of a player, that big of an athlete, that big of a star, really. And I've always said I'm a people person first before I'm an athlete person. You guys can enjoy people for the athletic prowess and all their talents. That's all good. I like learning more about the athletes that I talk about and learning more about what drives them and what motivates them and their, where they are in life. So, that was really cool to see. And you can tell Saquon's a really grounded dude. He's a good dude and, all that good stuff. So it was really good. I would recommend people go and watch it if they haven't already. If you like stuff like that. I like sports documentaries. So the other thing is I'd like to take some personal accountability today for something. Today was not my best show, folks. All right. I was off my game today. You guys can rip me just like I ripped Jalen when he didn't have a good game. All right. Today was not my best show. I watched that Saquon doc last night, like 8:30 to like 10 or something. And then I got busy. So after that, I'm sitting here, I'm working my butt off on something. And I got into the groove on something I've been trying to work on for a little while. And I sat here until 1:45 in the damn morning. All right. 1:45 in the morning. And then I was just wired up. I couldn't fall asleep. I didn't go to bed till 3 in the morning. I got up late. I didn't have a chance to get a coffee this morning. I'm like, holy shit. I did not have a good show today. So I apologize for that. I did not have my best show today. All right. I apologize for that. So it is what it is. But one other thing from the Saquon doc. I got a question for the chat here. One other thing I got a question for. Is Z limited? No sleep Z. Bench Zander. I love it. Bring it on, baby. It's fair game. It is fair game. All right? It's fair game. But one other thing I wanted to mention, how many of the people listening right now play video games? How many people play video games in the chat? I'm curious to see how many of you guys play video games. Nope. Brandon says, I do. I haven't in months. I do. Trey does. Brandon does. KCA does. Crowley does. I got Madden. Benching Xander for Tanner. Bringing McKee for Big Z. I love it. Stig Lord plays. Madden at 46. I love it. Well, I'll say this, I'm not a huge video game guy. I liked them when I was a kid. I don't play now. I do have a PlayStation, but I haven't fired the thing up and forever. Here's CJ late. No, I woke up late, dickhead. I can brew a pot of coffee. Fuck you. Yo, dude. Fuck you. But anyway, my point on the video game comment was I was surprised Saquon Barkley plays a lot of video games. I mean, he had Micah Parsons over to his house in the documentary. They're all playing video games. Saquon's on a phone call with Joe Shane, the GM of the Giants, who by the way, that guy, I would not want that guy to be the GM of my football team. Saquon plays a lot of video games. I'm like, dang it, these guys, people like video games, man. You know, but I don't know. It was interesting to me that he's talking to the GM of the Giants and he's shredding somebody on Madden. I'm like, that's classic. That's classic. So I thought that was interesting too. I don't know why I found that interesting, but I do find it interesting. Let me get to my boy Caesar. 2 super chats. James says, don't lose your sense of humor. All right, Labe, or whatever the fuck your name is. Here's Caesar. Not my best show today, Labe, and you're taking shots. Caesar says, Big Z, question to you. Is the lack of motion on offense a Hurts comfort thing or a coaching philosophy? Because it's killing spacing. They've never done motion, man. They've never been a big motion team. I don't know if it's on Hurts or not, but John tells me he thinks it is. You know, I don't know if it is or not. But I'll tell you what. For anybody, and I get where John comes from, where he's like, it's not on the coordinator. When the offense does good, I think there is a level of people going too far. Like when the offense plays good, everybody still says Patullo sucks. And when they're bad, people still say it's all Patullo's fault. It's like, all right, you have an agenda. If that's what you're saying, you have an agenda. You're not being honest about the situation. But if you go and read like guys like Kurt Warner, and I keep bringing him up, but I was reading his Twitter yesterday, and I'm like, damn, man. Sills are going to get Kurt Warner on again, by the way, because I told him about it. But like, I don't think we're getting any advantage from these coordinators. I'm sorry. I just don't. I just don't see it. I don't see it right now. I don't see it at all from Nick's perspective. I don't see it from Kevin Patullo's perspective. I mean, seriously, let me read you guys. Where's my damn phone? Here it is. Let me read you guys this damn tweet from Kurt Warner. And Kurt Warner, is a Hall of Fame football player, Hall of Fame quarterback. So miss me with the bullshit that Kurt Warner doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. All right, because he does. So here's Kurt Warner. All right, and I'm going to read you 2 tweets from Kurt Warner. One is about the Eagles directly, and one is just about coaching in general. All right, so Kurt Warner tweets, food for thought. There are some really good offensive coordinator and offensive head coach play designers out there that I would love to play for. But I'm not sure there is one I would rather play for right now than Shane Steichen. I love the play designs, the innovation to change looks while using good, solid concepts, and the way he gives QB answers on each play. I think that's a critical part of this tweet. He sees the game like I see the game, and that's so important for a quarterback. It's not just a good play, but a good play that connects to how your quarterback sees the game. There's a huge difference in the two. The best QB play designer combos in the league, in my opinion, are those whose plays connect perfectly to play style of their quarterback. I have often said I think I would struggle to play in Kansas City's offense, even though I love a lot of what Andy Reid does. But it fits Patrick Mahomes' play style, so it works well. Now think about what Kurt is talking about here. He's talking about it's one thing to be a great play caller. It's one thing to have a great scheme. It's a whole nother game to take your scheme, resonate it with the way your quarterback sees the game and sees the field, and then call plays within that. And when you listen to Kurt, when you read that, you're like, man, I do not see a quarterback or a coordinator right now that's resonating with Jalen Hurts or that's calling plays to see the way Jalen Hurts sees the game. Like, that's what I think I don't see right now, and Kurt Warner tweets it out. Shit, he's not out to get anybody, man. Go read his Twitter. He's got a real, obviously, I mean, it's Kurt fucking Warner. He knows the game, but I don't know. I read that and I'm like, that's where I'm like, sorry, John. I know you don't think it's at all on Kevin Patullo, but dude, I think Patullo's a part of this a little bit. All right. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Here's the second tweet that I wanted to read to you about the Eagles specifically from Kurt Warner. All right. So somebody tweeted to Kurt, forgive me if you spoke on this already. What do you think about the Eagles offense? Do you believe the problem lies with the play caller or execution? One of my favorite quarterbacks of all time, blah, blah, blah. Kurt answers the guy and says, The hard part is, and this is about the Eagles offense, the hard part is their pass game has been simple concepts for years. They have built it to take advantage of teams that leave one-on-one outside because they have to stop the run. So now they are struggling to run and don't have this innovative pass game to fall back on. And I'm not sure that's Jalen Hurts' strength. So you either have to get back to running the ball or recreate your identity, but not easy to do in season. So that's a little bit more specific to our football team and our offense. And you read that, and Daz, I agree with where you're going with this. For years, you see it. Kurt says it. They've had simple pass concepts for years. You know, that's Nick Sirianni's offense. That's not Kevin Petula. I mean, now Kevin Petula has been the pass game coordinator for years, so maybe he's just a flat out stiff. But who knows, man? I do think it's interesting, though. You know, I'm really not the type of guy. You guys have been listening to the show all year. I'm not the type of dude that's going to jump on, oh, it's all Kevin Petula. You know, I am a players first guy. I listen to Nick Saban, my favorite coach of all time, say players over plays. Nick Saban said it. Every great coach says it. So, but there is an element of like Kurt in the first tweet, you know, designing an offense that resonates with the way your quarterback sees the game, the way he plays the game, the way he consumes the game. And I just don't think there's any advantage right now that they're giving our quarterback, you know? So I don't know. It's something to think about. It's something to think about. Petullo has to ask Lurie if he can scratch his own nuts. You might be right about that, Original Philly. Xander, what would you say that about 22? Well, I'll say you had Shane Steichen, who clearly, Abe, has an ability to resonate with his quarterback. Now, it didn't work with Anthony Richardson. I don't know. I never thought Anthony Richardson was a good player. He completed 50% of his passes in college, for crying out loud. But Shane Steichen resonated with Jalen Hurts. I mean, he did. He clearly had a feel for how to get Jalen in a mode where Jalen would thrive. Right now, we don't have that. Blame it on the RPO, blame it on Nick. I don't know who you want to blame it on, but I don't think that they're doing a good job for our team right now. I don't think the offensive play callers are doing a good job. I really do not. I'm sorry, but that's my belief at this point. If somebody wants to dispute me on that, they can. John is at a point where he doesn't believe. Every time I bring up Petullo to John, it's like you can't even talk about it with him because he's just like, no, it's not a thing. Players. Okay. Is there why do we have an offensive coordinator if it's only players then? You know, I mean, come on. So, but whatever. I'm not going to. Here's Caesar again. If Hurts struggles reading post-snap rotations, wouldn't Mosham help him ID coverage earlier? I don't think his problem is identifying coverages. I think Jalen's done a really good job at the line of scrimmage pre-snap. Why remove the very thing that gives your quarterback clarity? Well, that you know, that's not really the perfect way to give clarity, Caesar. And I appreciate the 2 super chats, brother. But I don't really view this as you know, motion is the end all be all. I don't think Jalen's problem is pre-snap. I really don't. I think he identifies coverage as well. It's actually one of the things he's done very well. I think Jalen is a slower processor post-snap, you know, than progression readers. And I don't know if that's a knock on Jalen as much as it's what he's been doing, you know, forever. He's always had great athletic ability to be able to, you know, run around people basically, you know, and get out of danger and get away from pressure with his legs. You know, if you're Tanner McKee, for example, you ain't running away from anybody. So you got to get the ball out. So the only thing Tanner McKee's been doing his entire life is go through his progressions. Jalen's plays the game a different way. And I don't have a problem with him playing the game a different way. But we need a play caller who's going to accentuate those talents. And I don't necessarily know if we have that right now. Here's Joshua. What's up, Joshua? Last time AJ tweeted, we overcorrected and lost 2 games. I hope the team and coaches can keep the main thing, stay focused. It's a fair point, Joshua. It's a fair point, but I wouldn't worry about it. I'm not all that worried about that AJ Brown. It is what it is, dude. you know, I wouldn't worry about it. It is what it is. I get where you guys are coming from. You're like, I don't want to hear about AJ's tweets. But look, it is a human game, man. I mean, you know, it is a human game. So they're not robots. They're not Madden, like we just talked about a little bit ago. Here's Caesar Campos. What's up, Caesar? Thank you again, brother. Caesar, by the way, I sent you some more merch. Anybody that got the JAKIB hat. Pin, are you in here? Is Pin still in the chat? Pin, if you're in the chat, he mentioned me in the chat the other day. He said, hey, I got my merch. I'm like, Pin, you didn't even get it all. You got a t-shirt. I told you I was sending you a hat too. And apparently all these damn hats are on back order. It's like, come on. What the fuck? I sent like 5 hats to people, and none of them are shipping. Don should be getting a hat. Caesar should be getting a hat. Caesar, I ordered you the JAKIB hat, this one, and a JAKIB tee. I don't know if you got it. Pin, I ordered you the hat and the shirt. You know, it says the shirt delivered. I don't know. Government shutdown. I don't think that's it. I don't think the government shutdown has anything to do with my hats, to be blunt. Yeah, direct ship Nightmares Classic. It's true. Spike-O active. All right. Here's Follow the Water 94. I don't think we need to relitigate all the A.J. Brown tweet drama. They just need to handle any of that stuff in-house if it actually is any sort of problem. Those tweets don't bother me. That's fair. I'm good with that. They don't have to bother you. It is something, though. I mean, look, it's not something that you don't talk about. Here's VSVA. Big C, lots of truth in what you're saying. Watch Greg Cosell. I did watch some of that. I got to finish it. He doesn't come out and blame Hurts, but points out a lot of missed opportunities if Hurts made simple reads. Well, yeah, I mean, here's a problem. And I know I went there a couple weeks ago, and people are going to hold it against me, and that's fine. You know, at the end of the day, sometimes I'm up and down. I'm not going to be perfect, all right? I'm not going to make all the right takes. I've seen Jalen play too good or so good too many times to just say Jalen's processing is the only problem. Quarterbacks have different strengths. You know, Shane Steichen brought out the strengths better than he brought out the weaknesses. You know, if he struggles with progressions, then fine. Don't put him in a mode where he has to go through 3-4 progressions every read, and that's the only way the offense can be successful. I understand it's the NFL, and sometimes you have to get through progressions, but there are other ways to play the game. There are other things that coaches can do, in my opinion, to help him play his best ball. So, I don't know. I hear you, VSVA, but we'll see. Here's Reyes. This isn't a liberal chat. Get the fuck out of here, Reyes. Caping for your stupid politicians. Roll Philly says, Z, my problem is when people say the offense is limited because it hurts, but every time they open it up, it works out well. Well, Roll Philly, I think that's a good point, Roll Philly. And honestly, it's something that I struggle with too, because sometimes, Roll Philly, I'll admit it, I take the bait and I'm like, Hurts is just not seeing the field. You know, like he's just not seeing the full field, and that's what's bringing, you know, a stagnant offense. And then other times I see Jalen, you know, literally play so good. You're like, how do we not have more consistency in that? You know, how? Where's Jonathan Labe? Where's Jonathan Labe? Where's Jonathan Labe? Are you still here, Jonathan Labe? Where's Jonathan Labe? I think Jonathan Labe might be jealous. He was mad at me because I can't brew a pot of coffee. Well, I texted my woman. I said, damn, I'm having a tough show. I forgot to go get a coffee. Delivered to me. Get you a woman that gets you a coffee delivered. You hear that, Jonathan? You can brew your drip all you want, motherfucker. All right? I love the way I am. I know you, oh my God, you can't cook it. You can't get a brew. Bang! Bang, baby! Classic. All right, let's do this giveaway. I'm done yapping today. I told you guys, I'm not on much sleep, and I'm not having a good show. I'm not having a good show. I understand this. I love a nice cup of coffee. All right. That's classic. Where's Labe? Is he still in here? There's my boy Devin. What up, Devin? What the hell did AJ do now? I haven't been in tune with the news like I normally am. Devin, it's nothing, bro. Honestly, it's nothing. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's pretty stupid. Let me read to you. Where do I keep putting my phone, bro? I mean, I got one desk in front of me. I keep losing my phone. I told you guys, I'm all over the place today. All right, so for those who don't know, it doesn't really matter, man. Honestly, it doesn't matter in my opinion. But AJ posted a post yesterday on Instagram. This is the post. All right, you can see. I don't know why it's blurry, but there's the post, and the caption is "using me but not using me." Like, what does that mean? I don't know what it means. I really don't know what it means. He had 4 catches, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns last week. It is what it is. All right. Rich, the good news is you don't have to be present for today's giveaway. Because it's the giveaway because of Jalen Hurts' stats. Remember, we made the giveaway 275 or more yards for Jalen, passing and running. Obviously, he surpassed that number this week. So that's the giveaway. And whenever we have one of those giveaways, not just me on a whim giveaway, which I'm going to do another one of those. I'll probably push that to tomorrow. Whenever we have one of those, you don't have to be present. You have 24 hours to claim your giveaway. Okay, you got 24 hours to claim your giveaway. So I got Texas T, who I'm still working on the green jersey. Roll Philly, I'm going to reach out to my jersey guy about the jersey for you. I'm supposed to see him this week because I got to get Texas T's jersey. All right. If it's anything I'd like to win, it's a JAKIB hat. Flex, you know I can hook you up with that, brother. I can hook you up with that. All right. Here's Devin. This motherfucker had the best game of the season and still bitching how. See, I told you guys, people are going to take it that way. You know, I wouldn't put too much stock in it, Devin. It is what it is, brother. I think AJ's just, I don't know. I think he likes attention. I don't know what it is. Maybe he likes attention. I'm not really sure, dude. I'm not really sure. All I know is I want to use AJ more. Okay. I'd like to use AJ more. I'd like to get him more involved in the offense, especially if we're going to be a passing offense. But Devontae Smith is quietly becoming the receiver number 1 in Philly. Is anybody picking up on this? It feels to me like Jalen looks for Devontae more than he looks for AJ. But who knows? Who knows? All right, let me fire up this picker. Lord knows I don't want to do it, but I'm doing it for you guys. Lord knows I don't want to do it. I got to download the members and all this bullshit. HKP, thanks for becoming a legend member, brother. I appreciate you, my man. I do, man. That's really cool of you. I appreciate anybody who comes here with their hard-earned dollars, okay? And they spend money on JAKIB or they send a super chat. I do appreciate it, man. I do appreciate it. It keeps us on the air. You guys, I say that. I know you guys probably think it's Joseph, or joking, but it's not. It keeps us on the air. There's no doubt about it. It keeps us on the air. So big thanks to all you guys for all the support of the channel. All right. By the way, what do you guys think the Eagles are going to do to the Giants this weekend? I got a feeling we beat the shit out of them. I just got that feeling. Sometimes you get a feeling on a game. Doesn't mean I'm going to be right. I just feel like we're going to blow them out. I literally think we might put up a 40 burger. I could see a 40 burger. I could see a 40 burger on this team. All right. I could see a 40 burger. 40 burger would be epic, by the way. All right. Let me go to the sort, current level. There we go. Let's get our legends up. Copy. All right. Oh, fuck. Bro. It's crazy. I'm a different man before I have coffee in me. Legitimately. I'm like clicking all the wrong buttons over here. I'm typing in the wrong shit. Fucking you name it. I'm doing it wrong, man. I told you guys, you got to bench me this week for Tanner McKee. It's a fair comment at this point. I cannot dispute that I should be benched today for Tanner McKee. You know, I used to be a goalie. Some days you have a bad day, the coach puts you on the bench. Just, you know, it needs a spark. This show needs a spark today. Anybody ready to come in and be the host? All right. Anybody ready to come in? Oh, no, not Anton. Anybody but Anton. Please, Abe. I got you at a healthy scratch this week. No, Big Trag. Eduardo, I will legitimately block you, dog. Eduardo, I will block you and do not think I won't do it. Eduardo, do not think I won't do it. For one single second of your life, don't think I won't do it. You hear me, Eduardo? This motherfucker. All right, here we go. I'm getting closer. Here come all the nerds. No, hurry up. Get me the picker. I want to see the picker. Shut up, nerds. I need all the nerds to shut up before I start bullying people, including you, Reyes. Because, man, sometimes you got to be bullied. Although Reyes was the highlight of the post-game show this week, which was good. So good job by you, Reyes, there. All right, I got the YouTube members. Now let me go get my website. Coffee kicking in. Z, can you do a poll? Wait, what did you guys say on getting pulled that goalie? Were you a goalie too, Roll Philly? It is. It's a bad feeling, bro. It's a bad feeling. It really is. You go to the bench and you're just like, fuck, bro. I had such a shitty game. It's a bad feeling, Roll Philly. Bro, were you a goalie? Holy shit, Roll Philly. We got a lot more in common than I thought, bro. You were a goalie? Dang, I haven't heard yet from Pat, man. It's been a second since I've heard from him. But for those who don't know, This Week in Pro Football has stopped airing. It used to be our weekly show. Pat's been on for 3 years on the channel. Pat Callahan. He used to bring on Sal Palantonio and the betting guy and the fantasy football guy. And yeah, Pat's battling pancreatic cancer, and it's not good. I don't know if anybody. For those who don't know, pancreatic cancer is one of the most deadly cancers. My grandfather died from pancreatic cancer before I was born. I wish I got to meet my grandfather. By all stories, by all accounts, he was an amazing man. My grandfather on my mom's side. But, yeah, so keep Pat in your prayers, guys. Pancreatic cancer is no fucking joke, man. It's no joke. He got in. It happened like in August, I think. And, he called us and he told us about it. And he said, look, I really want to do the show because the show kind of keeps me going. Like, I love the show. It's what I have. I'm retired from my other job and I want to do the show. And we were like, look, we're going to do the show for you, Pat, and so 4 weeks into it, he kind of called us and was like, I don't think I can keep doing the show, guys. I'm back in the hospital. I'm restless. I don't have any energy. And so I don't know. Look, it's tough to talk about. Pat's a genuinely good guy. And just keep him in your prayers. For those who are holy, if you're not holy, just keep him in your thoughts, whatever it is, man. For those who pray, whatever God you pray to, keep him in your thoughts and prayers, all right? Life is real. Life is real, man. So we're all up here and we have some fun and we kick it back and forth and we debate with one another and we call people names every once in a while. But at the end of the day, we're all human beings and we're all going to perish from this world, me included, obviously. And, that shit hits me hard sometimes. It does, honestly. Pat would sit in this chair. He did his show from this chair for 3 years. This chair. He used to come, and it would bother me. It's funny, that's the human element. Sometimes shit bothers you, right? Because obviously I work in the studio. This is my studio, and I have my shit everywhere, my computer, my multiple computers, and this is where I do my hosting. And Pat always asked if he could do the show from our studio, and it's fine. I always let him, but it was always a pain in the ass every day. In the middle of the Cilio show, I'd have to pack up all my shit, clean up the studio, get it ready for Pat. And now I wish I could do that. Honestly, I wish I did have to get out of my studio, to help Pat. So, yeah, it's sad, but just keep him in your prayers. You never know what you got until it's gone. And he's not gone. I'm not, just saying, but he's battling. And anybody who knows anything about pancreatic cancer knows that it's a tough thing to battle through. It is. It's a very tough thing to battle through. Yeah, the studio's in an addition on the house I grew up in. I'm still here, folks. That's why I always get a kick out of people who are. I had some dude in my DM yesterday. My new thing, by the way, is people who DM me, I just fucking roast them. I roast them if they're coming in with hate. I had some dude come in and he came in hot out of a cannon. All right, ready to rip into me. I fucking annihilated this guy. Anthony, if you're listening, sorry, bro. But he's an Italian, and it classically ended up like, it's all good fun. Yeah, of course it is. But he uses the daddy comment, and I'm like, bro, we are middle class people. Me and my dad started the business together, 100%. I don't think that makes me spoon fed. My dad did not build the 60,000 subscriber YouTube channel, all right, which is funny. But no, if I was born, look, I've been blessed in life. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not, I have a great relationship with my parents. My parents both worked their butt off to provide for their kids, which is a beautiful thing. But I always do laugh at, you're spoon fed. I'm like, bro, if somebody opens a door for you and you walk through the door, that doesn't make you any less of a man. Okay. Pretty funny. All right, let's go to. I told you guys, man, this coffee has not hit enough yet for me to be where I am right now. All right. Michael Doherty. Underdog became a member on the website. Appreciate you, Underdog. Zane, I got Jerry. Keith, Rashid. Appreciate you, Rashid. Master Eagle, Chris Scott, Wild Bear. All right, good stuff there. Let's go to my family members. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, I got all of them, all the same names. Let me go to my legend members. Legend members on the site. I love all you guys, man. That is the best way to support JAKIB. Legend member on the site. Caesar. Got you, Caesar. Appreciate you, Caesar. Philly Don. Appreciate you, Philly Don. Mike Berghorst. Appreciate you, brother. Zach Lambert. Appreciate you, brother. Russell Clement. That's my boy. Lucius the Show. Thank you, bro. Derek Epps. Dio. Thank you, bro. TK Washington. Thank you, TK. Brandon Howard. My boy. Brandon, I'm pissed about the hat. I'll figure it out for you. JD3. Thank you, JD. Thomas Gruber. Tyler Braswell. Josh Bernard. Jason Murdoch. Kimberly Sirico. And Gary. Thank you all, man. I appreciate each and every one of you. All right. All right, let's do this. I think I got them all. CZ, I don't think you're a member anymore on the website. Is that right? Probably not. All right, cool. All right, cool. All right, I got the list ready. We're doing the giveaway soon. Do I got you in there, Ziggy? Yes, I do. Ziggy, is that a new nickname for me? Ziggy? I don't know if I like that. It's a little goofy sounding. A little goofy sounding, in my opinion. All right, new list. Same formula. All right. Here we go. Billy Todd, I got you, brother. Don't worry. He's coming out of I come out of a meeting and he's yelling names. What'd I miss? You got me in there, Ziggy. I like that name, actually. I think I like it. ZZ Top. I don't know. That name might have some different connotations to it. All right. Is my new name in there? Spiko. I think I got it, brother. I got them all. I downloaded them right from YouTube. Philly Todd, I got you. I see you on here. I'll search people's names if they want me to, all right? ZZ Top. That was a band, wasn't it? Is that the one who sings Sharp Dressed Man? Yeah, Sharp Dressed Man. I like that song. It's a good song. You're there, Flex. I got you, brother. Z Banger. Ziggy is cute. There you go. Kirsten gets the approval from it being cute. Ziggy is a great nickname. I don't know about that. I'm with HKP. He said, I don't know about that. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, HKP here. I don't know, brother. Legs is their best song. I know that song, I think. Ziggy Marley, maybe it is, man. Who knows, brother? Who freaking knows? Don't call my boy Zander no damn Ziggy. Yeah, Flex, let's rule that shit out. I know who ZZ Top is. Shut up, Philly Don. Philly Don, contrary to popular belief, I cannot change the year I was born. Like, I love people who say that. Oh, you didn't watch that football player play? No, dickhead, I wasn't alive. I watch highlights. Yeah, this guy doesn't know this guy. Yeah, I was fucking not alive. What do you want? What do you want me to do? I'm in my pop's nutsack. You want me to go and watch YouTube when I'm in my pop's nuts? Holy shit. Come on, man. Yeah, the straight jacket comment. He kind of made another one of those this year. All right. He kind of made another one of those this year after the Rams game on the field, bro. Did you hear that roll, Philly? He was talking to Pam Oliver. We can't play this way. All right. We can't play this way. How do you not know Ziggy Top? How do you not know ZZ Top? Philly Don. Sorry, bro. I'm 27 years old. I know what I know. I know David Bowie. I like Pink Floyd. I loved classic rock when I was in high school. All right. That's true. Only half of me was in Pop's nutsack. That's correct, Joe Webb. Thank you for the clarification. All right. ZZ Top's from the 70s. Yeah, well, I'm born in 1998, baby. 1998, baby. Oh, Tony, you're here. I gotta show you this. I gotta put it on the wall still, but I gotta rearrange. I got the frame for the Corvette poster. Now I'm getting a glare on it. That's all right. You can see the computer in it, but frame is fire. Woo! Tony, I gotta be honest. The best one on here is the Hysteria Purple with the yellow calipers. I mean, that is just absolutely beautiful. By the way, Tony, I think I'm ordering a green. I think I'm ordering a green for 2026. I got socks older than you. That's good for you, brother. You might want to throw those socks out. You might want to throw those socks out. Those are some crusty, nasty, gross socks. Is a Corvette a woman's car? I don't know. I don't look at it like that. I don't give a shit. I like the car. I bought the car. I don't buy the car for the approval of others. I like the car. I got to get a truck, though, folks. Truck is the way to go. I had a nice truck. I wish I kept the truck, but no, I'm not done with it. I got it. I want the green one, though. I want the green one. The green one would match the channel better. Sig Lord, that would be fire. I don't know what ChatGPT is doing. I always put my names into there, and it gives me the list of them based on the entries, and it's fucking not doing it. ChatGPT blows. All these AIs are overrated. It's kind of Kelly Green, Keith. I know how to use a washing machine. I don't do my own laundry, though. For those who think I do my laundry, I told you I don't do that shit. All right, I have a very normal man role in my relationship, and my fiance is a very woman. She likes to take care of me. That means doing my laundry and making me dinner. All right. My bad, Big Fish. I missed your super chat, bro. Big Fish says, what percentage you think we get at Crosby? Payback for Parsons, go Burns. I think 20%, less than 20%. I think less than 20%. Maybe even less than that. Maybe less than 10%. I don't think we're trading for Max Crosby. I got the paid. I got the paid one, man. I don't know what's going on. I think it's broken right now. Over under Hurts sacks. I don't know. What's the sack number? Heard of Pink Floyd. Spiko. I loved Pink Floyd when I was a kid. I used to have a Pink Floyd poster on my wall. I don't think I heard of Pink Floyd. Here we go again. Same bullshit. This damn ChatGPT. Come on, man. Now I'm getting pissed off. TK, let's do the giveaway. TK, you're on my time, TK. I'll do the giveaway when I'm ready to do the giveaway. And if you keep bitching, I'll be removing your name from the giveaway. You hear me? Holy shit. Computer's not working, and this guy's piling on with some bullshit comments. You're done, TK. Is that what's happening? Is this down? Is ChatGPT down? Oh my gosh, it is. I'm on down detector. Oh boy. Oh my. We got down ChatGPT. I see it. It says it's down on down detector. I don't know what's been going on. All right, let me get my formula and put it into Grok. See if Grok will work. See, ChatGPT is already built to know my formula. So that's the problem. All right, here we go. Let me see if Grok works. I don't use Grok much. I don't like Grok. Oh, God, don't tell me Twitter's down, too. What's up with all the cyber attacks this week? I'm surprised I'm still on the air. All right, Super Grok. Formula for giveaways on my YouTube channel. All right, that's the formula. I will send a member list now from the channel and the site. Please. There's a bunch of stuff down. There's been a bunch of stuff down all week. Amazon, AWS was down this week. Big Mike says I'm on the bench. Man, Big Mike, shut your bitch ass up. Is World War III starting? I don't know, man. If I can't stream, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be pissed off. Bro, I know ZZ Top. Holy shit. I told you 38 times. Listen, Donald. Let's see if this crappy Grok can figure it out. Another Brick in the Wall is a great freaking tune and a great album, really. And obviously, Dark Side of the Moon. Dark Side of the Moon is a classic. You know who else I love? I love Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton's great. There's a lot of great artists out there. What is going on with all of these things? Nothing is working. Nothing is working right now, bro. Wow, Grok is smarter. Grok is definitely smarter. You know how normally when I put the names in earlier, it would be like there would be difference if there was names. Grok is saying right now it's putting like TK Washington is spelled differently on the site. Grok combined them. Fly Eagles Fly is Fly Eagles Fly on YouTube, and Fly Eagles Fly is a girl on my site. It combined them. That's pretty impressive. Hopefully it's accurate though. See, I've been telling you for months. I just don't like using Grok. I go on Twitter to be on Twitter. I don't go on Twitter to be on Grok. Just taking 38 years. I'll tell you that much. StreamYard's not down. That's true, Kimberly. I'm still here, aren't I? I'm still here. I got to go, though. I told you guys I was freaking tired already today. I didn't go to bed till 2:45 in the morning last night. I woke up late. I had no coffee pre-show. Yeah, I need to be benched. Where's Anton when we need him? Abe, can you host the show today? Flexen, you ready to host? Who's ready to host? Sound like AJ. Oh, man. I'm about to can your giveaway to tomorrow. I swear I am. And don't tell me I won't do it. Go old school. Put all the names in a hat. Bro, I'm going to be here till 3 in the afternoon if I do that. I'd rather listen to Secunda than Anton. Pianist, you got a studio? Come on, man. Let's go. Come on, man. Mr. Jeezy, put me in, coach. All right, bro. Gronk is taking 300 years. Come on over, Reyes. I'll welcome you in. How about this? Sig Lord messaged me yesterday. Sig Lord knows one of my best friends I grew up with. Small world. Small world. F Grok. GPT is down. Reyes, GPT is down. Where have you been? Where have you been, Reyes? Holy crap. No, he's not a stalker, bro. He's not a stalker. I tweeted, no, whatever. I won't say how we figured that out. Fucking Reyes. Please, Grok, please hurry up. Oh my gosh, bro. This is tragic. This is absolutely tragic here. It's getting it right. It's just taking 14 million years. But it does have JD3, legend on both, so he's got 13 entries. Braswell, legend on both, 13 entries. Mike Berghorst, legend on both, 13 entries. Philly Don, legend on both, 13 entries. If you're a legend on both, I got to send you something. Caesar, TK, Brandon Howard, Thomas Gruber, Philly Don. Philly Don, I sent a hat already. Mike Berghorst, Tyler Braswell, JD3. Who else? That's it. All right, I think I got it. Using me, but not using me. That's what's happening right now. This might work. Let me see if it's there. That's not what I wanted. Give me the full list. Folks, I'm about 2 minutes away. Xander, have you talked about what Sill Show is going to do when we play on Black Friday? I guess that's an interesting. I don't know. I haven't thought about that, Ryan, to answer your question. Bro, Ryan, I'm thinking about what I'm doing for the next 30 minutes. I'm not thinking about, my girlfriend or my fiance. I keep calling her my girlfriend. She's my fiance now. I keep saying to her, she'll ask me, what are we doing this date? I'm like, do I look like I fucking know what I'm doing a date a week from now? Bro, I don't know what I'm doing yet tomorrow. Other than that, I'm working my ass off. That's the only guarantee every day. What are you doing on this day, Xander? I'm working. That's what I'm doing. Any day of the week, what are you doing? I'm working. The rest will fill in as it may. Man. Bro, Mr. Jeezy, driving me crazy. I want 12 kids. I'd rather have to answer to 12 kids than. All right, I think I might have it if Grok isn't as stupid as I think it is. That's not right. That's not right. I'm pushing this thing to tomorrow, folks. It ain't doing it right. Cranky Z, you're right. I told you I'm cranky, bro. At least I'm honest. I do not take Saturdays off, ever. I'm always working. I don't take Saturdays off. When you run the business, Pietas, there's never a day off, brother. There's never a day off, which is a beautiful thing. I love working. I really do. I really love working. Geez, sorry to bring you. You sound like a chick, Ryan. Hey, did you plan out a month and 12 days from now? Do I fucking look like I planned out a month and 12 days from now, Ryan? Seriously. I couldn't even plan out my coffee properly this morning. I couldn't even plan my coffee for the morning. Ugh. Am I spazzing? Fucking leave it to Ryan to get me going. Don't burn out. Joe Whip, I'm not burning out. I'm good. I've been working hard since I was 16. The guy told you this story. I was the bar back at the bar. The manager called me. He said, dude, you can't work 80 hours a week. I'm going to get in trouble. You're 16 years old. Every time somebody wanted to go and party or go do something stupid and they wanted to call off their shift, I said, give me the shift. I got to make money. I got bills to pay. Zander been in a tailspin since Hurts went off. Bro, I love Hurts. Shut up, Arthur. Shut your bitch ass up, Arthur. There's no way that's right, Grok. I'm gonna yell at Grok. Grok, you're stupid. Grok, you are stupid. I'm going back to Chat GPT. You completely failed this assignment. Okay, Grok. I hope you got the message. Let's see what it says back to me. Let's see what Grok says back to me. I said, Grok, you are stupid. I'm going back to ChatGPT. You completely failed this assignment. It said, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm here to help, not frustrate. Another fail. What specifically went wrong with the list? Was it incomplete, a calculation error, or something else? Share the details and I'll fix it right away. Shut up, Grok. I'm done with your ass. I'm done with everybody in the chat, too. I'm done with all you in the chat, except for HKP, because he became a legend today. That's about it. HKP is the only one I got patience for today. All right, I'm done. I'm out. Oh, man. Plenty of time there. Kimberly, that's like my life motto. Get some sleep. I'll sleep when I'm 6 feet under, bro. Please. I'm blessed to be alive for another day. Flex, I got love for you, Flex. You know I do. Z, uncalled for. Take a lap. Arthur, shut the fuck up and get lost. All right? The crash out is real. It is what it is. Fifth time Anderson, he was out of here. Big Mike, boy, I'm going to come for you today, bro. Love you too, Brandon. There's Philly Don crying about the giveaway. Philly Don, shut up, Philly Don. You're not safe either. Nobody's safe. Zander quitting like Zadarius. Bro, what do you want from me, man? What do you want from me, Twiz? You tell me what you want from me. Let me see if ChatGPT's back up. I got one more opportunity. If ChatGPT spits my list out properly. Here we go. It's back analyzing. Let's see. Let's see if this numbnuts can get me going. Ugh. Ah. Yeah, that's the best one yet. Oh, man. ZJ Brown is hilarious. You know, it works. My middle name is James. Alexander James. That is my name. Alexander James. ZJ Brown. That is fucking hilarious. That is the best one yet. That is the best one yet. ZJ Brown is nuts, bro. And it actually works. My middle name is James. Now Dylan Locke. Dylan, don't ask me that shit right now. I got bigger things to address. No, I don't love being harassed. I'm trying to get the giveaway so you Nimrods quit crying. I'm trying to give back to the great people of JAKIB Nation. ZJ Krause is nuts. Folks, I got it. All this bullshit, I think I got it. Yeah, ChatGPT got it right. Stupid Grok. Where are all the people who said Grok was smart? Sig Lord, where are you? Because it failed. I got the list. We're doing the giveaway. All right, you shitheads. All right. Holy crap. I got it. Woo! Now, Twiz, one spin. Because today, Twiz, you don't have to be present to win. You got 24 hours to claim your prize. All right? I got the list. 697 entries. All right? Rainy Boy, 956, Abe, Afredo, Akbar, Andy, Anthony, Anton, Bearded Willie, Big Mike, who's been crying all day, Bob Brown, Brandon Howard, Brian Fleming, Caesar's in here, Chester, Chris Albright. You got it? Sig Lord, who's been crying all day, Devin, Derek, Dirty Air, Dirty D. I got it. Flexing and stepping. Fly, Eagles, fly. All right. Deep breaths. No, Pietas, wrong, because members drop off every day. So I'll have a shitty list, Pietas. You think I haven't thought that one through? You think I didn't think that one through there, Pietas? Unlike the chat, my IQ's not that of a gnat. Who was that Nimrod earlier? Oh, gosh. Let me do this stupid giveaway. Start. Confirm. I'm doing one shuffle. I'll do 6 shuffles today for Devontae Smith. That's 2 shuffles. That's 3 shuffles. That's 4 shuffles. That is 5 shuffles. 6 shuffles. Valencia Bray at the top of the list. Valencia, I don't think that's a good one for you, my friend. Top of the list normally means you're about to take an L. Here we go. Here we go. Who we got? Eduardo! Yeah, that's a good winner. I bet he's here. Eduardo, you piece of shit. No, you're in there, Rashid. I got your name in there. Don't worry, Rashid. You're on the website. I got you, brother. You're in, but you didn't win. So I'll catch you on the next giveaway. Where's Eduardo? Now, if Eduardo ever wants to call me again, if this motherfucker ever wants to say to me again about who my brother is, Eduardo, I will not send you a jersey so fast, Eduardo. I now have leverage on you, you piece of shit. And here it is. Here it is. Eduardo, what size are you? Let me guess. You're a small. Let me guess, Eduardo. You're a small. What do I got? What size are you shithead? What size are you? Medium. I knew it was going to be small. All right, let's see what I got. I think I might have sent out my last medium. That could be trouble for you, my friend. Ooh, I got medium. I don't think you're going to want that, but I'll ask you if you want it. I don't think you're going to want that. Yeah, I'm mostly adding my mediums. I might have to go and get you one, Eduardo. The only medium I got right now is this is it. This is the only medium I got right now. Let me guess. You don't want Dallas Goedert. He said, I can wait, bro. All right, you don't want Dallas Goedert. I like Goddard, but most people don't. Yeah, Warren's I can't do 88. Look at this. You'll never find another channel where people win shit for free. Well, not for free. You guys support the channel, so maybe I shouldn't say that. And then they demand, no, I need a different jersey. That's not what I will accept. I think you are the one with the goofy number. Or the goofy brother. He said, I can't do God. I can't do 88. Can't do 88. This motherfucker. This guy won a Super Bowl in this city. This guy won a Super Bowl in this city, Eduardo. Bro, these are stitched jerseys, Roll Philly. These are good jerseys. Let me sell them on the Goddard. Let me sell them on the Goddard. Ready? Eduardo. You could be waiting a couple weeks. All right? You might be waiting a couple weeks. Or you can get this beautiful Kelly green. Fully stitched. Look at that. Look at that quality, folks. In the medium for you, Eduardo. NFL logo. Yeppa says, I'll take it. Z, hook me up. That's my size. I already got the whiteout Kelly green coupe, bro, and it's stitched as well. Well, what does that have to do with my Goddard jersey for you? Eduardo said, nah, bro. I'm good on that. Eduardo said, I'm good, man. I don't like Dallas Goedert. I like Goddard. All right, back in the bag it goes. Back in the bag it goes. Back in the bag it goes. These beautiful stitched Kelly green Goddard jersey. You hate to see it, folks. You hate to see it. All that bullshit I just went through. With ChatGPT and Grok and this and list and names and comments and Philly Don and Lucius and all these people. And this dude shits on my Goddard jersey like it ain't worth nothing. Unbelievable. Eduardo wants a green card. Have a Kelly green jersey. Now that is a good troll. And now that is a good troll. Okay. Look at little Ryan. These are some feminine screams, Z. Okay, Ryan. I'm sorry you don't have. I'm sorry you don't have range like I do, Eduardo. All right. I can wait for a jersey, bro. You know me. This guy's look at him. He's all nonchalant. I don't want Goddard. This guy's basically like, I would rather get nothing than get a Goddard jersey. Oh, man. Noted. I won't get any more Goddards from my guy. He gave me that one. I told him it wasn't going to be a hit. I tried to tell the guy. He's like, just take it and see. I'm like, all right, I'll see. I'll see. I'll see. Made me pay for it. I paid for the fucking thing. I paid for the damn thing. Yeah, Goddard's a beast. He says, on some real shit, I'm good if it's Goddard. Holy crap. Eduardo, what an ungrateful fuck you are. All right. I'm about to go Zander Dictator and just boot him to the side. I don't get him from Fanatics. I fucking hate Fanatics. Fanatics is a piece of trash. Every jersey I've ever bought from Fanatics is a piece of dog shit. It's a piece of shit. I hate shitty jerseys. That's why I go to my jersey guy, because he's got way better jerseys. They're stitched, they're Kelly green, and they're beautiful. And they're nice. All right, I'm out. I am done with this show today. I am done with the show today. I love all you guys. Xander Putin will be out tomorrow. Xander Putin will be out tomorrow. Vladimir Krause will be back. All right. I love all you guys, man. Except Eduardo. Fucking shithead. Yeah, Fanatics is trash. If it's not a large, Luis, and you're not even a member, you shithead. All right, love you guys. Goodbye.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.